what am I gonna do to fucking make myself better or be like that person or that person, right? Like this is what I grew up in. I don't want this. I want that.
Yeah.
You know, and our culture is very powerful in the sense that it has its way of fucking making motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's just now individuals finding power within themselves to utilize that.
Yeah, yeah, we send the warriors. It's time we unite, yeah. Put our differences aside, yeah. And fight for our lives, yeah, yeah, yeah. Send the haters in the mall way before let's sunrise.
Oh, see, applause.
Come on.
Oh shit! There it is, bro. There it is.
Sound like Brook and Jubal.
Kolanzamu, Lotisamu.
Wrong one. Like, oh shit! What's up? So if you tell a joke, bro.
Oh, that's fucking badass.
We need.
When did you get that
We need a
shit?
bro. That shit's been on there, but
Oh, really?
yeah. So
Damn.
like, I think the intro song for
This is how it starts, and then next thing you know, we're gonna have our own Jamie doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Our own producer on the side. Hey, can you Google this?
Yeah. That's what Mark's gonna be. We're gonna have Mark come by when we start doing as we get deeper into it. We'll have Mark come by. He's on the back end with the computer.
He's gonna be the fact checker or what?
Yeah, fact checker. He's gonna be checking if we're lying when we're on here.
Yeah, we definitely need a fact checker.
People be lying on this motherfucking boy. It's the BBC, baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, round
BBC's
2,
back. Round 2 for the BBC.
first of 2025.
Yeah.
Fuck.
How was the last one? I enjoyed that last one. That was a good intro to.
Yeah. We went to a lot of different stuff. It was cool. It was good to talk about it and get like feedback from it. So I don't know if we're gonna end up digging deeper into that stuff this time, or we're gonna be talking about a bunch of other stuff. I think it might get even.
I think with us, it always has a tendency to go deeper.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then anything we leave out there is always good because it stimulates the mind. If not ours, then everybody else. It'd be awesome if we can get like questions.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
like if they question, even if they question any of the shit that we say,
Yeah.
I would love to answer that.
Yeah.
To me, I think my only caveat is if you're going to ask a question, you have to put a name to it. It cannot be no computer name.
Yeah.
It has to be the name.
Yeah.
If you're asking me, especially if it's like a question that's a very personal and serious question, then I would love to answer that to the person that's asking.
Yeah. Answer it to you directly.
Yeah.
If you're asking the question.
'Cause-
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Like, so yeah, like if you have questions and you want to call us out on anything that we fucking talk about,
Yeah.
it'd be great. Just throw it in the comments, DM us on social media, whatever, and we'll answer the questions right here on the pod, on the BBC Chronicles at any point.
I mean, a lot of the things that we talk about are, I mean, first and foremost, it's vulnerability is key because that's what's causing us to, shed old skin and, forge new ones. So that's going to be part of it. If it's you that wants to ask the question, but you're not vulnerable enough, then you need to man up. There's no stupid question. And same thing for us. We're putting ourselves out there to, show everybody, like you always say, you're sharing your stories.
Our lessons to help you on your journey.
Yeah.
Like we go through so much shit on the path that we're on, and we just want to share that. And we can understand also, like people also won't understand when we do talk about these things. And there's that's the same thing where we came from when we saw other people doing things and we didn't understand. We're still there in a way, right? But this is why we know where we came from and all the people that we used to hang out with or were with a lot or around us, and we can understand where they're at, and we can understand how or what things they can be aware of that can help get them out or get them past those barriers that are holding them back. And that's all we just try to share. So that's what the BBC is here for.
Yeah, and to touch on what AJ just said, a lot of there's a lot of men, as I was, it was always hard to. You always have this mind of wanting to be better, do greater things, but then one, you just don't know where to start, and two, you're very timid on where you want to go, and you already know where you need to go, but it's just something that's holding you back, and maybe most of those things we've already encountered and we've already overcome. and we can just share that stuff. But we don't really know what we're gonna talk about unless you ask us. Then we can bring it up and kind of give everybody like next steps.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, as we go, we're just gonna be throwing, like you said, our experiences out there. But there's a little bit more details to each of those. And if you guys want to get more detailed, then ask questions that are detailed, and then we can explain further.
Yeah, our experiences are the ones that are guiding us through the podcast and through everything. And that's all we can do is share the experiences with you and what we have done to get ourselves, past certain barriers. And it's not like we know that it's gonna work for everybody, and everybody's living their unique and experience of life and everything that they're doing, and everybody has different goals and different places they want to go with their life. But there's like, I feel like at least there's certain like points and certain things that if you can get a hold of and have certain standards for yourself and certain points in your life and certain pieces of your life, that it can get you through almost fucking anything and help you get past a lot of the things that are holding you back from, getting to whatever those goals are or wherever you want to go in your life. So, and we're still on the move. Obviously, there's so much still that we have to learn and so much that we have to work on ourselves, and we're fully aware of that. That's why we're constantly doing things like this, because I think the more we share, the more we talk about it, the more aware we become as well of ourselves and where we're at. Because the more we speak it just becomes, it's our truth. And like you just said, with vulnerability, like we keep telling our stories and we keep saying where we're coming from and the things that we're doing. But as we're going through that on a day-to-day basis, we're learning where we're weak at, and we're learning how we can keep growing, and we're learning, especially from other people around us too, that we can still keep getting better. And we have to figure out those ways to get better, because if we can get to this certain point, but then we just want to sit and stay comfortable, then we're not actually doing what we're talking about or what we're trying to get other people to do.
Roger that. And because you said on the move, my take now is, I'm the oldest one in the group, and I know there's a lot of people in my demographic that are probably just now getting started or are stuck. They kind of got started and they're stuck. Now you got to think a lot deeper, because when I speak now, I'm speaking to the young men and women. We say we're on the move. What if you are on the move starting now at 20 years old versus waiting till you're 33, 34, 45, and then you're going to start picking it up then? Like, maybe that's your timing, and it's beautiful in a sense. But if you can figure out through learning from us and doing it now, how much greater could you be when you become 45? You're going to still be on the move, but greater things, not kind of starting, gaining traction by taking, like walking. You could be, if you're measuring to Pao and AJ, maybe you're doing more marathons than anybody else. And then you can start that trajectory and help other people. This is the basis of it. Nobody's done it before us, and we feel like we're the ones that are going to be doing it now. So talk about it.
Oh, are you mad? Oh, damn, bro.
Why you look angry?
Yeah, bro. Just
I'm
tell
trying
your
to
story.
fix this mic, that's why.
Oh,
He said something.
it's falling.
Yeah. Falling for you?
Hey.
I like that.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, well, so round 2, man. Words of intention. That's how we're going to guide our podcast. Words that we have, really want to insert into today's podcast, kind of guide the show, and more so, just really speak in your heart. So I'll go first, because everything else we go in alphabetical order. But yeah, I want to be my first word is going to be insightful. Hoping, that whatever we talk about would be insightful to everyone and each of ourselves in here. Hopeful, anything that we can do better in hopes of helping our people get better, achieve greater things, build better communities, stronger motherfuckers. And once again, I think vulnerability is always going to be in here somewhere. If it's not from me, it's going to be from one of these two. So vulnerability is key, because it's one thing to know all your bullshit. It's another thing to acknowledge it and do something about it. Then the last is fun. We always gotta make it fun.
Roger that.
Oh, me next? No, I was next. Yeah.
First word. Progress.
Shit.
Come on.
Yeah, come on.
It's a good word. It's a good word. Important word.
Like you said, vulnerability.
I told you.
And the last word, connection. So yeah, that's the three for today. Let's see what it's about.
If I was up on this, bro. If I was up on this, me.
And wait, I'll put one more. Fuck. Loyalty.
There you go.
Oh, okay. All right then. I'm gonna go. My first one is definitely gonna be patience. And since the last time we talked, and I had to deal with that a lot, so that's one thing I want to would love to bring up. Patience, tolerance, and I mean, just inspiration with, yeah, just patience, tolerance, inspiration for me for these three.
Roger.
You guys
that.
got good words, and those are just three things that I think I've kind of really been aware of these since the last time we spoke. So, yeah.
There you go. Pau's words were the winner, so you can set us off.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Lead us why, Paul? Why? You
2025 has been pretty interesting.
choose- Yeah.
I mean, we ended 2024, I guess. The way.
Oh, can we talk about that real quick first?
What's up?
Since the last time we talked, because I remember telling you, and then just before we get into your what you were about to say, but this is like a piece that I think was important for us to talk about because after we spoke, I think it was about 2 weeks after that, or a week or two. Oh shit, a week or two after that, like I started feeling real down, like hitting the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to like eat like all the good shit I was supposed to eat all the time and not stay away from all the bad shit. And I didn't want to, come into the shop and do all the things that I want or needed to do. I did it anyway, I did it all anyway, but it was just motivation level was just down. I don't know if that's just me, like at the end of the year, and it's just like, fuck, dude, like we did so much throughout the year. I was feeling the energy level drop off because of doing so much and just busting my ass through the year or whatever, and just feeling like maybe I should just wait and go hard again when January 1st hits again, kind of like what everybody else says. But
Yeah.
I remember me and you were kind of talking about it. It's like, bro, I'm not feeling it. Like my body my body didn't have any energy for runs, for lifts. Like I was just kind of going through the motions at that point. But then we get through it, and like me and you were talking, like our fucking running felt like shit for a while. Like all the runs felt like shit. Like it and nothing was breaking. It wasn't breaking for about 2-3 weeks, and then finally you get one good run in.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
You got
I
your
think I'm
run.
back,
And then I
you
kept
got your
dealing
thing.
with whatever the fuck I was dealing with. And then I sent you a picture of my pace. I was like, oh,
Running
like-
away.
that too. But yeah, it's like, 95% back.
Yeah.
No, you ain't back. We ain't back until you're back.
Yeah.
Like, we're not fully back. So I was like, yeah. I mean, it makes sense too. Because we've done everything together, with that side of the whole running part,
Yeah.
running journey.
I think also too, that's why we like to set measurable, attainable goals, and it shouldn't be determined by like a timeline. Like, for instance, Monday, right? Like you like that start fresh Monday, or start fresh in the new year. Like we worked on our goals like the third quarter, so November, December is when we started working on our goals for the coming year. So like just part of what I do for work, it had to be done because now my first quarter, my goals have to have been set the last quarter of last year. I can't do that at the beginning of the year. Otherwise I lose out on all the opportunities. And that's business, but that goes the same for everything else in your life. Whatever goals you set for yourself, whether it's your body, your balance with your family, all that stuff.
And your being, right?
Yeah, and if we like use those kind of timeline to measure ourselves, we're always gonna use that like, oh, it's kind of like the fasting, how people like misuse fasting,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I'm gonna fast from this time to this time of 16 hours,
Yeah,
but then when I eat, I'm gonna eat
a
all the
bunch of
shit
garbage,
that
yeah.
are garbage, right?
Mhm.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're giving yourself like false hope,
Yeah.
rather than like sticking to your plan
Mhm.
and just going through it. Like it's not always gonna fucking be enjoyable,
Yeah.
and that's what I've come across every fucking time.
Yeah.
But every time I step into the gym and I didn't like it,
Mhm.
after I felt so much greater.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck,
Yeah.
do I have to do this again tomorrow? And what I mean by that is like that mindset of like, I have to like just go do it,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know? And I have a way of measuring my workouts. So I can make my own self feel bad just by looking at my previous
Yeah.
and what I'm supposed to do now. I'm always supposed to be upping it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just another way of goal setting. Like if you're not hitting your bars or overcoming them, then there's a lot of things that you have to go back and search to see where you're breaking down,
Mhm.
and that way you're not gonna use time
Yeah.
or people to measure your shit. You know, for instance, like, oh, I wanna start working on, but fuck, man, see, what's her name has a baby shower, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ham, and then
Yeah.
after that we're gonna start.
Yeah.
You know, it's always gonna be like that. You know,
yeah.
it's always gonna be like that until you just put your foot down and be like, you know what, man, fuck this.
You got to do this.
Like, don't go.
Yeah.
But then if you go and you found yourself like standing on the side drinking water, that actually feels powerful too. Like you feel good.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you want to see what you look like when you were drunk. Do that.
Yeah.
Go to a
Fuck
party
yes,
and drink
dude.
water and
Fuck
watch
yeah.
everybody, and you're just like, damn.
See, me and you can talk about. Paul don't really know
I know,
about that
and
because
you know, with you saying that, I mean, a lot of it is me. You know, when you say drinking water, I'm the one drinking
Yeah,
water,
yeah.
watching. You know, people. A lot of the
It's like a bunch of idiots.
yeah, like damn, like am I? Like I feel like I'm security guard here.
It's crazy. It's really unstable. Yeah.
But that's the good part about like what you just said. So when you just keep doing it, all right, and even though it sucks, and you know you start to notice this, like even though it sucks, and you just keep going through it and just doing what you say you're gonna do. When you finally have that good workout, you finally have that good, you know, run, you finally have that, you know, thing that happens in the business where it just feels so damn good, and it looks and it seems like the plan's been going right, even though it hasn't really felt like it. Those are the days that you kind of live for. Like those are the best days. Like when you're hitting PRs or you're hitting like weight or you're hitting paces that you don't normally hit. Those are the days that you're doing all that work for. And because that shit's not just going to come if you didn't do all that work when you didn't want to. That's how that shit happens, is by the stacking of the days that you didn't want to go and you didn't want to do it. That's how you get those paces that you want. That's how you lift that weight that you've been wanting to lift that you don't normally lift, right? Those are the days that matter the most. So
Yeah.
Showing up every single time.
yeah. Sorry, pal.
No, you're fine.
The end of the year was just, it was
And the
different
end
for
of the
me.
year was shit. It's so bad. I mean, like I told you, after the marathon, I couldn't even run for a week.
Yeah.
I mean, even this guy, I was like, dude, I feel like they reset my running journey.
Yeah. Those hills fucking
It's so
busted
bad.
those legs.
Yeah. Well, not the leg, the toe. The big toe.
camel toe.
Yeah. It looked like, felt like I got gout.
Hey, was that a shot? I hope that was not a shot.
Digging.
'Cause I brought bullets too.
We gotta get that
I'm
one
gonna
like
say
the
that
AR
because-
fucking like gunshot.
I only say that because this guy always fucking used that, against me. Hey, maybe that's gout. Fuck you. That's not gout, bro. Not yet. No, I don't want that. But now, man, 2024 was, an interesting year. Then the way it ended the way, the way it did. But 2025, I guess we gotta move forward, be true to ourselves and, keep working. That's 2025 should be that way.
Yeah.
So
Lots of work to do
a lot of work.
in many areas.
Yes.
Of life.
Oh yeah.
Many areas.
Yeah, that's true. So
I say right now, especially for me, I'm really big like with the patience thing, right? Like for me, this year is having like way more patience with everything that I'm trying to build here, and understanding more that it's gonna take a while especially with what I'm trying to build in my head and in my vision of what I want all things around me to be. It's going to take longer than I truly believe, and it's going to take a lot of work, and being patient with that and being content with that and being better at things like being a better dad and being a better husband, and not and trying not to fall short of that. Like that's like a huge goal of mine, especially this year, because I've spent so much time, especially building this business, building Nesian Built and everything, that sometimes like I feel like I'm neglecting my side, even though I try really hard to balance it all out. I still feel like I neglect a lot of that, like being a dad and being a husband. But that's why I'm really trying to focus on being way more intentional than I was even last year. Last year, I was pretty damn, intentional with everything, with how I spend my time and stuff like that. But trying to be even better this year, so that everything is. And last year was still a good year. I always still have your, your hard times, and stuff gets rough, but still dealing with that, getting through it, overcoming that, and then being able to come into this year with those lessons that I learned after going through everything, and being able to build from that and be even better this year. That's a big focus and big goal of mine. And then especially like being able to like inspire more people by actually being face to face with them instead of just on a screen. Because, I feel like we have more power when we can do that.
Yeah.
So really big focus this year.
No, that is good. I mean, with doing what you do, I can see how somebody could fall fast for, that instant gratification. Right. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short.
Yeah.
Their longevity is not that long. It's because they're pushing stuff, trying to get one thing, but they lose balance everywhere else.
Yeah.
And I think you're doing pretty good at that. And to your to what you said, all the hard times, as we come to know, those are the best times, because that's where you find growth. That's where you find where you suck. That's where you find where you need to pick up. And the more you can find all those in all the areas of your life, like your business and then with your family and everything else, the more you can kind of find what's more important to you, and then start dividing all the energy amongst all of those, and then just steadily growth, right? Versus like, oh, I gotta go all in on this, and then now where's your family at? Like your business is gonna be good, but then where's your family gonna be? Like you already got something great. You just had another baby, you have a good family, you got a boy that's old enough to work with you. So there's ways that you can manage family time and do what you need to do for your business to grow. And patience is what you need to deal with all the things that come with that, like having to discipline your son because he's not listening to you, when you're trying to teach him how to do shit, right? It's not bigger issues. Like those are manageable issues, and you like to keep those at minimum. Yeah. But no, patience is definitely required for that. Yeah.
I feel that for sure. You end up trying to force stuff too much, you know what I mean? And I've had the tendency of doing that, trying to force stuff too much and trying to really make shit happen, because it's in your head and in your, like, who you think you are, and it's like part of your identity to make things happen. It doesn't matter, what you're going through. It's up to you to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
And when you take that full ownership of everything that you're doing, and then when it doesn't happen, right, it's like, fuck, dude, like I failed. I didn't push hard enough. I could have done more, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you take into account everything that you're doing, and you're trying to do too much too quick, and not being patient with the work that you've already put in and compounded on, then when you fail at it, or you're not doing as well at it as you think you should be, that's where you kind of come to that sense where, it's not always going to look the way you want it to look, but you have to see where you can learn from. That's where the focus should be, is where you're learning and how you can be better. It's not that you have to be better right there, because you would have never known if you didn't push, and do the things that you did to get to that point. But just trying to take those lessons from every time it doesn't go your way, or it doesn't go the way you think. Even when it does go the way you did, you have to make sure you take from there. Because I've learned also that even when I was successful at certain things, maybe I didn't pay attention as much to what I was doing or what I did to get there, and I lose focus of that, and I think that it can just happen again instead
Yeah.
of going through that same plan or going through those same actions that I used.
Yeah, when you start putting everything down, like Paul's word that he said earlier, right? Deduce, right? You start deducing, but more so, like it gets even deeper. Like you get granular with things, like to the fucking micro
Yeah.
things that you do. So like for me, like another thing that I inserted into my calendar this year was like spending more time with the girls, and that doesn't mean like every day because I can spend more time with them every day. We're going to jujitsu, we go to sleep, we wake up, we're in the same household. So I have to be intentional with all those times. Now I upped it up a level to where right now I can only manage to spend time with them like 1/4 each. So in each quarter I spend time with them. So it's just each of them. So like I'll take Arya to, like maybe a daddy daughter dance or a day just with her. And then another time with Cadence. Just a time with her, where she wants to go, what she wants to do. That time is hers. I'm gonna be there to listen to her. So it's just being more intentional, like with that.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing for me, and it's really important because like I don't know if everybody feels like that, but for me, growing up where I grew up, I mean, it's not. I never had time like that.
Yeah.
I remember times that I spent with my father, who was the most important thing to me, but it was it intentional from his side, or is that him doing the best he can with all the things that he had to go through, had to do, was against him, or things that he perpetuated, so yeah, I got a lot of time, but it was like a lot of mixed. I think that's why I'm like part hurt, part gangster, when now I can direct what kind of energy I can give to each of my kids at the time appropriate for them, with the same energy that is gonna make them fucking full gangster, full fucking whatever
cowboy.
warrior.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
just get to take more from you because
Yeah.
they're just more intentional with just you and them.
It's more intentional. It's more special. And like I tell my kids, it's like when it's time for me to go, like I don't want you to I want you to celebrate. Like fuck, dude, thank you so much for this shit.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, I miss him. Like you're always gonna miss me.
Yeah.
But I don't want you like walking the earth like longing for me. Like no, like take the power and continue moving forward.
Yeah.
It's all part of that. You can say, because it's not. I mean, it's all gonna end somewhere. So let's maximize what we have now. Kind of like I don't understand when people get commemorated after they die. Like why the fuck you do that?
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Yeah.
I tell Cadence, if somebody calls you up to say they want to give me an award for something, tell them to go fuck themselves. Like why didn't you do that when my dad was alive?
Yeah.
Like stop that shit.
Yeah.
Like honor people when they're here.
Yeah.
You cannot be working for the government and be like, oh, we're gonna commemorate such and such because he was a good part of the community and the person is gone.
Yeah.
It's like no, we're like say when he's fucking here. That's when it's the most meaningful.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same shit, and that shit compounds in every aspect of our culture.
Yeah, it's funny because what's that? Angie Frisella was talking about this, and I've told Ching this shit like so many times, but it's like because even me, like I don't like going to funerals. I don't like. I'm never there. Like funerals, weddings, stuff like that. Like I'm just because I always think like first off, funerals are not fun. Like nobody really wants to go to that shit, right? Because it is sad and all that stuff. It's not something that people you're not like looking forward to going to a funeral, right? And then like weddings and stuff, it's like the focus is on the people that are getting married. Like those, that's I understand like being there to support the marriage and everything like that. But at the same time, like I told Ching, like I've told her this many times. If I died, I never want anybody to have a funeral or have to go through that. Go to that. Like, fucking have a party and then let everybody bounce out. Like, there should be no reason why everybody's over here crying and all this shit. Like, we know this is the cycle of life. We're gonna fucking be gone at some point. Why are we coming over here crying like we didn't know it was gonna happen? Like, it's just a time
to life.
Yeah, you see? Yeah. So it's like if anything ever happened to me and I was gone, like everybody should be celebrating the life that I did live, because you're gonna know by the end of it. For me, I lived it the way I wanted to live it, and I lived it to the fullest, more than most people could say. So I would want you to celebrate that more than you mourn me dying, or me being gone. So it's like, it's funny that you bring that up because I literally just told her that yesterday because I was watching The Last Kingdom. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, fuck, dude, like, please, nobody ever fucking go around, like, sit in, church or whatever when I die and just fucking be sitting there sad and just waiting for it to be over. Like, I would never want to waste your time like that. I would never. I'm gone already. What are we gonna do? It's like, just fucking go celebrate that, I did some things that I wanted to do, and hopefully I made an impact on your life. And then, get drunk if you want to get drunk for me, and then fucking bounce out, have a good time. Like, that's what I think it should be. That's what I hope it is.
It's a celebration of life.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah, we digressed.
I think it's fun. I think it's crazy too. You bringing up your dad because I always wonder if the way I am also like is because of that. Like my mom and dad split up when I was young, and I moved to Saipan. That's the reason why. Like I was fortunate enough to grow up on Saipan. I'm really glad that I did, instead of growing up in New York or on a fucking military base, and because I would have been a totally different person if I fucking grew up out, that than back on the island. So
I don't think we would have known who AJ was.
no, definitely not. I would have been back visiting like every other summer or some shit, and then I'm just that nigga.
He'll be back. He'll be back when the boats go.
Yeah, I'll be at GIG.
No, it's wild, bro. But yeah, we don't really think of it that much, and now more so. I don't think, as far as I can remember, I don't think anybody ever really knew what like PTSD was until like after the wars. It became more prevalent.
Yeah,
and then now it's starting to transverse into like other areas of humanity.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Like growing up, and you can go back and forth all day about this, but like through your experience, like that's unique to you because that's what made you badass, right? Like you were born. Were you born in New York?
Hawaii.
Yeah. Oh, how long did you stay in New York?
I was right there, like 6 years maybe or something like that. 5, 6 years.
So
Yeah,
a good chunk of your life to where you've experienced that, and then you experience island life.
Yeah, and then island life, like getting there too as like the black kid that didn't understand Chamorro, like all of that shit.
And you endured all those hardships.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure people made fun of you.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, like we can always sit back and look and say, man, that's like fucked up or whatever, but that's what made you hard. That's what gave you power.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of us never find ourselves or never find Jesus within ourselves. So we tend to stay like at that weak state where we fall to like a victim mindset. And it's like, why me? Why me? When we need to start changing that. And instead of saying like, why me? Like, what is this fucking trying to teach me?
Yeah.
Because it's everything happens to you for a reason and it's supposed to make you stronger. I think that's why there's a lot of weak people because they just don't give power to want to try or look for power to even try to change themselves. They just stay reliant on people and comfort. And then you can compound that by support, whether it's by government or family. And then now you just keep falling into a deep state of fucking like you don't even know who the fuck you are anymore. You're just living like that. And then now we can look at you and be like, hey man, you were smart when we were in high school, and what the fuck happened to you?
Yeah. I like you said, I really think that is like a big part of it. It's just that being able to endure all of that, at a very young age too, just being able to get through that and all the stuff that I did have to go through as like kind of the outsider or the one that was different than everybody else. And that's why I've never hate on the fact that it happened. Like I just know that it happened, and it's not a story that I'm going to tell myself. And especially like going through it, it was never a point where I let people take advantage of me, like being the one that was different and being weak for it. Instead I used it, like you said, as like my power. Like it was like I knew that I was different. So what can I do that not that I wanted to be different from, everybody, because I still have family. Like my family, they brought me into places which that's that was also like my protection. Like me being with, Pao, Lyle, my fucking godbrothers and all of them, like that was still like, it was like, that's my family. That's the side of me that, people know me on the island. And there's a side of me that people think that I'm so fucking different, like,
Yeah.
and it's just using that and combining it and knowing that, yeah, I'm different, but, like, how am I going to use that and be like, am I going to be the weaker version because I'm different, or am I going to use the powerful version of me and get different results or do something different,
See, you just touched on it, because, bro, that's our lives, right? They're still kids growing up, and times are harder back home now, right? So there's a lot more against them. And granted, you can be 6 to 10 years old and not know anything about what's going on, like the government, administration, like all these things that we have to like decipher. And they're gonna grow up through that, and then they're gonna enter that where it'd be like, shit, like, is there life outside of here? Rather than like, what am I gonna do to fucking make myself better or be like that person or that person, right? Like, this is what I grew up in. I don't want this. I want that.
Yeah.
And our culture is very powerful in the sense that it has its way of fucking making motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's just now individuals finding power within themselves to utilize that. And it's a dangerous road too, because one, you don't want to become a people pleaser, because, okay, I have to find power and I'm doing this, but then I'm only doing this because I don't want these guys to get mad at me. One, because you don't like being trashed on. Right? And then two, you don't want to use it to be deceitful. Like, you don't want to be, oh yeah, motherfuckers, well, I'm going to fucking show you. Right? Now you just, either way, you're taking on bad energy.
Yeah.
Right? You got to find that happy medium of like, how the fuck can I get from here to there, utilizing all this shit that's against me to get to the other side and fucking start pulling people out of crap pot. Same thing that we're doing. Whatever you did is reverse of what me and Pao, right? We grew up back home. We came out here. It's no different. It's as hard because we come out here, we're timid, fucking like we don't know a lot of shit that we think we know. We're out of our comfort zone. We're leaning on a lot of different things, and for the most part, we're looking for comfort. We're not looking for challenges of like, oh shit, I gotta do that to get there. Nah, fucking that shit look hard. Like, fuck, I gotta go talk in front of these people. Like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So we start looking for ways of success, but it's like the path of least resistance, but it's the resistance to what's good for us to grow. We're just like, oh, I'm just going to go back to that Safeway guy. I'm just going to go fucking work at Safeway, bro, because I'd rather stock shelves at night and I don't see anybody. I want to talk to anybody. And then for some people, I notice it gives them a false sense of like attitude.
Yeah.
Like they take their timidity and they make that like their anger now. And then they make that representative of where they come from.
Yeah.
And it just gives a bad picture to everybody.
Yeah.
Like here we are talking about light and love and where we come from and all the hardships that we endure. And then you got people that are like, man, fuck these white people, man. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Fuck, I'll show you what a fucking islander is. Like, no, that's, it's opposite of that, bro. Like, we're all about love. Like, we bring people together. Like, get that shit out of your head. I think it's good that we're bringing this up because it's, like I said earlier, we're trying to help the youth.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody needs help, but I think the more we talk about it, the more we can help our peers, and then we can help the people below us.
Yeah.
Because
I think people like our age, for the most part, I think most people maybe our age and maybe a little bit older, I think they're a little far gone. I mean, that's just the truth, at least, that I think. It's I think they're, like you just said, I think there's a success level that they've seen, and that's why kind of we talk about a lot of this stuff, is because I think the success level that, and tell me if you agree, like I think that success a lot of time when we like from our people coming from the island and coming out here, was the success level wasn't as high as it should be, or that we saw, like what we see on TV, or the people that, when we do get out here, we do see people in like really holding high level positions, stuff like that. But we didn't see that back home. So that's not the kind of success that we would envision ourselves in. So when we come out here, the being successful meant getting a good job that paid you $50,000, $60,000 a year, and getting a house, and getting a nice car, and that's success. And being able to have parties at your house. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I really felt like this, at least for me, this is what it was. Like, have a house, be able to have that house big enough so that you can have parties at your house and people can come drink, and you can have a lot of people at your house and stuff like that. Have a big backyard so all the kids can play and stuff like that. That's success. Like just having that kind of job, regular job, even if whether you liked it or not. But it wasn't to be fit. It wasn't to have a good family that you're actually bringing, kids you're bringing up to be actually more successful than you, teaching them lessons that you didn't learn, making way more money than $50,000-$60,000 a year, building a life for generational wealth instead of just whatever job you hold at that time. Like, I think just the level of success that we saw in us coming out, I think that's what kind of maybe held us back. Was we didn't ever expect or think that we could reach the levels that we saw other people, like they say, the white people, we never, our people don't see ourselves as that or becoming that.
Yeah. And I think, for in the past podcast, when I speak of certain people, it might sound that, like I worship those people, but like how else are we supposed to grow? And first and foremost, like, that's not worshiping. Like I say, you got to find strength in running with wolves, right?
Whether
Wolves,
they're white or black,
they're not gonna fucking feed you meat.
Yeah.
They're not gonna go in for the kill, and then you're gonna stand outside and be like, "Hey, you want some of this? Here you go." Right? You got to get in there and fucking get your piece of meat, right? And that means you got to bring your energy with it, right? Because if you cannot paddle, fucking start swimming, bitch, because you're only holding everybody back, right? And to your point, like, we never see anything like that back home. Like, I 100% agree on that.
And if we did, who was it though? Like, so on the island, if we did see successful
So,
people, who were they?
I saw it on the news, bro, that like the census, there was like 45. That's why we need fact checkers. There's like 45,000 people on the island, and
45. That's right. When I left, it was like 60 something.
yeah, and like 4,000 of them, I might be wrong, but 4,000 of them are government employees.
That's insane, dude.
And that's, to me, I don't like that, because I can already tell like the kind of attitudes that get built up just to attain those jobs, and then the kind of status symbols that certain people put themselves in. So they're not there to like help people. That's why we don't see that.
Yeah.
Right? Because they only help themselves. They self-serve themselves, and they're not trying to attain those positions to try and better the community as a whole. Right? And mind you, just that it's not a fucking disclaimer, but it's a fact. Like, you're ruling your people with something that you didn't produce yourself. All you're doing is guiding them based on bylaws that are created by the United States of America. It's not like it's not like you have a production that you're in charge of that makes money for your people, right? And that's why it's like I disagree with that, and it really hurts me, because those are the people that I see. They're very self-serving. They don't try to do outreach, and if they do, it's more for like a clout versus like, this is what needs to be done for this island to progress. And then they'll just keep fighting on who can do that better, and it never gets done. Same shit, right? But as far as successful people, those are the people that I see. Like, they're successful for them, but they don't change anything for the people.
Yeah.
Like, even if you were to tell the people straight up, like, hey, we need to save this and save this, so you guys maybe stop buying all this shit, and we're gonna try to cut out all this fucking bad canned food from China, like shit like that. That's more meaningful to me. Like, let's see how we can get everybody. They don't say acres back home. They say hectares. And fucking like get everybody a cow or something, and start fucking learning how to farm, and learning how to make your own, be more self-sufficient, right? Instead of just trying to propagate all this food from everywhere else that has all these preservatives, and then taking care of your people. Like, that's fucking doing something meaningful with whatever salary you get, instead of always trying to increase your salary, and then you get to dress nice among your people, and you get to show up, and then you want to fucking buy everybody drinks at the bar because they want to vote you in, and it's just fucking same cycle. Yeah, stop that shit. Wow. When you fucking came to America, what were some of the challenges that you encountered that were very tough, that made you who you are today? And you're probably still working on some of them.
Yeah. I mean, just opening up personally, just being vulnerable,
I like that inflection.
just being able to just be myself, right? Because I was always the one to think that if I say something wrong, then they, judge me, like, oh, that guy's dumb, or, shit like that. Just all the little stuff that you think about. And yeah, just I guess surrounding myself. I wasn't comfortable surrounding myself with different kind of race. Because I was always, coming out from back home, it's always, your people. That's all. That's all who we know.
Is it because you didn't like certain races, or you weren't confident in who you were?
I just wasn't confident, as a whole, because all I knew was Saipan before coming out, and then just trying to fit in, I guess, was kind of hard because I didn't know like who or where to start.
Yeah,
so that's
fucking very understandable.
Yeah, that's a lot of the parts that was hard. And then even when we first moved to Oregon, like I've just used that as an example.
That's the first mistake.
Yeah, it's like just moving out there. It's like it was just us. Me and my siblings, and then my parents go to work. Barely spend time with them because they're trying to make sure that we had a roof over our head. And I mean, making friends was just like neighborhood kids, but it wasn't like, that was just the easy part, but actually wanting to be better or, just find something that benefits us it was hard because we didn't know where to go or just like the sources or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's a lot that we can touch on this, because especially like for me it was different because I came out here and the family was already established out here, so it was still not easy, but I already had family that kind of already found the weaves through the communities, so I kind of just followed them and learned, like we're subjected to the same stuff that everybody gets, all the rap, all the movies, everything like that. But that's not always cultural norm. Like that's the movies, right? Yeah. And I came out here with the pretense, like, "Hey, fuck you, bro! Like, stand by me. I want to ride bike, on the street." And it's like far from everything is far. Yeah, it's like fuck that. But then at the same time, bro, I was fortunate. I mean, my situation to me was It was hard because it involved so many different things, right? But I had to like speed, bro. My up tempo had to be like fucking like, bro, you gotta fucking pick it up if you wanna go. So I was always more, and the house that I stayed at, we hosted the cinema. That was the Cinema Club of Washington. So I was always mingling with everybody else. So that's how I learned. I learned by everybody that came to the house that were in the Army, in the Air Force, and I asked questions, but at the same time, I can relate to you. Like, one thing to gain knowledge, it's a totally different aspect to project yourself because of that timidity and that lack of confidence. It's very hard to shake off, And then there's so many different things. I mean, I'm pretty sure we have a lot of people in our communities now that are living through that. Like you said, your mom and dad had to go to work to put a roof over your head. Your friends that you have to surround yourself with, regardless of how much you want to be better, that's not the cream of the crop, probably, and you can't deduce, that's what you get. Any neighborhoods that you can go through where they had like, the kids that, let's say you wanted to get smart, like you don't have shit like that. I think when we get granular with everything, it gets pretty deep, and then you get in trouble because you're not doing good in school, but it's only based on what it says on paper. Yeah. Like your parents don't know exactly how you truly feel inside. Yeah. Like, let's fix this kid. It's like it's a shame or something. It's like, oh, what the fuck is this? You dumb? Yeah. And then now that just compounds a whole different set of trauma. Yeah. Then you gotta grow up like trying to break that. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, it is. And then, after when we lived in Oregon, we stayed there for 9 months, maybe almost a year. And then my parents, we drove up here, came to one of our aunt's house, and they saw like, oh, maybe that's better for us, which I like thinking about it now. I think that wasn't the right move, just because I think we would have grown and challenged ourselves a lot more if we stayed down in Oregon, just because of,
how isolated you guys were.
Yeah, just because we had to find our way rather than coming up here and being comfortable, right? Because we know more people. Now it's like, okay, like I have aunties, uncles, so it's more fun rather than challenging. Yeah. So I've always thought about that. So
And the beauty
It's
of
a
that
piece of the
is
pie.
that you take all that with your growth.
Yeah.
We all take everything that we grew up with, and then now we just give our kids better,
Mhm.
and then now we're trying to share with the community
Yeah.
because you don't think deep until you start trying to challenge yourself to upgrade yourself, and you encounter like real hardships, and you're like, wait,
Yeah.
like we could have fixed this way back there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of it's just like wondering why you you are the way you are, and or why all of a sudden you kind of see like you can be doing better, or you should be doing better than you are, kind of thing. And it's like that same thing, just like looking back, like as we're talking about this with, because all of us had to deal with that, right, coming out here, and then finding ourselves through, like, not through coming from the island, and then this big world basically in our eyes, right, this big world of people that don't really know anything about us or where we come from or anything. And even just with this, just the simple thing of being able to communicate because our accents are so fucking strong. Obviously, when we came out here, we weren't speaking like this. You know what I mean? Like, we could not speak into a mic clearly, and you understand what the fuck we're saying. Back then, I remember like the baseball team, bro. When I fucking got to the baseball team and they made us all introduce ourselves, 60 players. As soon as we were done, and like I went and hung out with the guys that I knew, like from that whole group, they all said they didn't understand a fucking thing I said when I introduced myself to that team, and they all thought I was like Puerto Rican or some shit. They didn't even know, you know what I mean? And just little shit like that, like we don't even know. And then that just reminds me of your nephew that just came out here for Labor Day that played with us.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah, and it's just that, like,
Shout out, Tobat.
and he's such a, like, he's he has a good heart and he's a good cat, but he just doesn't know yet. You know, he when he finally does come out here and he gets to really, put himself into this environment. And I mean, you were doing it to him the whole fucking time.
Yeah, that's why there's a method to the madness. There's a method to the reason why I talk to him like that.
Yeah, yeah. And we know that, you know what I mean? But like, naturally, when we first came out, we didn't have that. We didn't have people like really doing that to us, because they, even themselves, they didn't even know. They had, I mean, you said you had those people that you could get around and they could help you out because they've been out here, but some of them weren't out here trying to push it into you harder and harder because they know what the hell you're going to go through, So like, it's like good when you have, especially for him, like for Chris, when he comes back out here, he knows what he's going to get himself into if he stays, right, and stuff like that. But he knows what he's going to get himself into, and then down the road he's going to understand where the hell you were coming from with all that, because he's going to go through shit that he's not aware of at all yet. But this world, especially out here, is going to bring you into situations that it just never even happens back home. So it's just a whole new fucking world.
And that's the thing. Like, you bringing me back again to what I mentioned about how you could be deceitful with what you have, or you could be people pleasing. That's a good example, because he's coming out here to want to progress himself, and if he's not used to it, everybody says, "Oh, fuck, you guys are from Tanopak, you guys are hard like that." Like, bro, to be honest, bro, I'll fucking say it on Tanopak is the most loving, kindest village ever in Saipan, dude. And I think people have that misconception that we're all rough, but at the same time, it's because of that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you come out here with that chip on your shoulder, and if you get addressed in a different manner that triggers you, then you snap.
Yeah.
You want to show them, oh yeah, right? It's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
like, have your intention, what you want to do for yourself, and put all the energy that's going to get you to where you want to go. And then you learn how to navigate and stay on the road. Like, don't go on the shoulder of like, I need to do this for this guy because I don't want him to get mad at me. Like, fuck that. And that's the two issues that we have that are very common. You either get really mad, or you don't want to ruffle feathers.
Yeah.
Even though it's true. Like, you can challenge somebody, but you decide not to because you don't want them to like despise you.
Yeah.
When you're all about building the team. Like, you want to be a good friend, fucking tell your friend the truth.
Yeah.
Don't just let him go because you don't want to hurt his heart. It's like, no, we're not growing then. But he's a good example. And then another one to all the kids out here. Like, you come out here, you're going to school, you're already in that mix where you're getting in trouble because you shelter yourself. You put a fucking mask on you. This that you're getting from us is a fucking privilege. Anybody that comes to help you is a privilege. If you don't care about what we have to say to you, that's fine. But it's only going to make you want to get better longer. It's gonna take you longer to get to where you're gonna get to where we're at, and you'll be like, oh shit, that's what they were fucking talking about. It's the same shit that your parents tell you about,
Yeah.
right? Because I have family out here that just move out here, and I know it's hard. I know the challenges because I went through that. So when I try to talk to them and they're not being responsive to me in a manner to where I know they want to grow, then I just let them be. And if they feel like I don't love them, then that's your feeling. That's not my feeling.
Yeah.
You're letting me know that you want to grow on your own. I'm allowing you to do that. It's not my job to interrupt your universe.
Yeah.
Like the universe is, you have your own space. Like I'm just trying to guide you based on where we came from and how I did things and where you can guide yourself better. But if that's not what you want to hear right now, then you're subjected to whatever's coming for you.
Yeah. But then that goes into tolerance, right?
Yeah.
So we go into tolerance, like what's gonna, like, you might not want to hear it now, right? And I think most kids are like that. Most, like, when you're until you're around 25 or something, even like you think you fucking know everything about the world and you think you can handle everything by yourself, and you think you got it all figured out until you reach a point of pain tolerance where you just can't take it anymore. You're not where you're supposed to be. You're not doing well. Shit is really, really hard. Or you go through something that, it just opened your eyes, and that's where the tolerance comes into, where now you want to listen. That's why, like, I was just telling Mark the other day, a lot of the podcasts, like our podcast, I repeat a lot of the same stuff, and I talk about the same stuff a lot because I think those are the strongest points that I believe in that have gotten me to change and do better for myself and the people around me. And the thing was, when I was younger, this stuff was around me. Like, I would hear it. I would, people that I would either listen to or I, was inspired by, they would say these things, but I was not at the point yet in my life where I wanted to listen and take in that information. And that's why I repeat the same stuff quite a bit, because I strongly believe in it, one, and I know maybe if they didn't listen to it the first time, they might catch it the 25th time, but that's the time that hits, because they're at a different point in
we
their
all
life.
share the same. I think we all have a tendency of being redundant. We just repeating the same stuff. But like always say about the message, right? The message is gonna come out when it comes out, and that's the same message that keeps coming out. That's the one that needs to be heard.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you feel like you keep doing something and the same problems keep coming up, what are the chances that maybe that problem needs to be addressed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, otherwise it's just gonna be in that karmic cul-de-sac, right? Like I was telling Pao, like, for example, like you could do that for us because we're all grown, we're already married, right? Like, I've done that too, where it's like I get irritated by my wife, I don't say anything, I hold it in, and then next thing you know, like a month or even a year later, like I'm still holding something, and then I get triggered and I just fucking come unglued. Say, well, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
So I got triggered. Now we're fucking fighting like it's a full out war.
Yeah.
And then what happens after that? Fuck you, that makeup sex. And then we're back to the top again until something triggers it again.
Yeah.
And then we keep going back.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck. So that goes to show. I mean, even though we speak of it, we also have our own challenges. But that's why those things keep coming up, because they need to be heard, and we need to identify them for ourselves. Because if we're trying to help people, then we also have to like help ourselves for the most part. Otherwise, we're not. Fuck yeah, I say what?
Let me turn that off, bro.
Otherwise, it's not conducive to our growth. But half a month out.
Okay.
It's about to get cold up in this bitch.
It's better than.
I don't think
better
so.
than the
I think we're
warehouse,
just getting fucking fired up now.
There's
the
new
warehouse
drops
is
over here that we can use to get warm.
That new.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool that we still say the same stuff, but for the most part, it's like in a new context. And to your point, everybody can hear it differently when it's a different context. Same concept, but you would change the words up a little bit, or it's a different like scenario, but very similar. Somebody will pick it up that way. Like how many times you listen to a song growing up and then you listen to it now and you're like, wait, that's what the fuck
Yeah.
that said?
And movies too.
Yeah, you know, so there's a difference between hearing and listening.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I encountered too, that I started to work on just last year, is for the most part, like, I hear you and I'm listening to you, but I'm listening to you to respond to you, not, you know, to help you like answer.
Yeah.
I'm just listening to what you're saying because I want to say something.
Yeah.
You know, instead of like, oh, tell me more, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. It's fucking 44-year-old, bro. It's still trying to learn how to fucking communicate.
Yeah. Oh, we had so over the past couple like years, right, of us like doing this, right? So like, especially like with the podcast and stuff like that, because they're always looking for a subject matter to speak on, like something to speak on that I think will help people. And the funny thing is, like, in the beginning, you're thinking that, you know, like, I remember when we first kind of started, like the first year and a half, like it was like, you know, I know what I'm doing this for. I'm going to speak on it and what my experiences are. And I was hoping, you know, more people could, you know, kind of start changing their habits. And yeah, you see a little bit of it, but in that space or during that time, you're thinking like, oh, nobody's really doing anything. And then over time, I think it's like they have to truly believe in who you are, so you have to stick to that. And you have to really fucking stick to it, because they're literally kind of waiting for you to turn back, just like everybody else does. You know what I mean? And I always tell myself that, like, and I know we're all like that, especially the three of us. We always keep saying we're gonna just keep going. We just keep going, keep stacking, right? And because we know we have a mission, we have a long-term vision of what the hell we want to do, and I think that's what really keeps driving us, right? And I know, for me, especially, like, what it is. And I know a lot of times I just say, and we actually say this to ourselves, because we've spoken on it. It's like, if not us, then who? You know, if we're not the ones that are going to do it, who's going to do it? Because nobody's going to fucking sit here and go through the shit that we go through on a daily basis, and like we like are doing, because almost all the fucking time, 99% of the time, people are just falling right back to where they started. And we already know, like, what is on the other side of once you get past those certain fucking barriers. So lately, especially, I've been getting the situations where I have people that I know that are having their first kids, they're getting married, you know, family got sick, you know, heart problems or something like that. They want to start getting better for themselves. These are the situations that we're talking about, right? These are the types of things that we talk about, that we went through, that we're going through, and we're figuring out, or we kind of figured out, you know, because it's always going to be a fucking challenge. We're always trying to figure these things out, but how we've overcome it, and we share it, right? And this is why we put the experiences out there, and this is why we keep trying to build, because we know people are going through different situations in their life. People are going through different things that they weren't thinking about 3 years ago when I started, but now it's happening to them. Yeah. So now they're becoming aware of the situation that we're talking about.
And one, maybe the situation that we talk about, you know, preceded them, but it might not help them. Mm-hmm. But at the very least, it would make you feel that you're not alone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, because that's the shittiest feeling, is when you feel that you're going through something, especially like a young man having a baby, you know, and no family. You know, like, just the thought of knowing that you're not alone can give you a lot of power. That, you know, by listening to us, we can remind you of where you come from, you know, who we are, like what we do as a people, how we raise warriors, you know, all that stuff applies, and it helps. Like, it would help me. And like I said before, like, I've never seen anybody like this. Yeah. The people that I gravitate to, I've never seen motherfuckers like that. That's why I want to change. You know, I don't see a lot of people now. It's not because I don't like you, because for the moment in time that I'm trying to get to where I'm going, there's no room in my calendar for shit like that. Unless it's something really important, I'll make room in my calendar. But other than that, nah, dude, it's fucking, I've already wasted half of my life, like, enjoying that. And all to come this way to say that none of it was fun. You know, it was fun for the moment. Yeah. That's why it was instant gratification. But it's like, fuck, dude. But I'm not mad at it, because I'm really, now that I'm fully aware of who I am, it's more gratifying. That it's like, shit, bro. Like, okay, like, that's why I want to share this with the people. You know, and that's why vulnerability had to be the key to do that. Because in many different parts of my life, I was the lonely kid that felt like nobody fucking cared for me, nobody loved me, which was all untrue. That was all stories that I told myself to make myself feel good, and once again put myself in that victim mindset. And the shitty thing about that is that it compounded through my growth into adulthood, right? So now moving from being a middle school to having a girlfriend to a wife to having kids, like very different parts of my life, I put myself in those spots, to where it's like I question myself, like, how are you as a man? Are you fucking doing what you're supposed to be doing? All while knowing what I can be better, where I can be better, what I could be providing more. But I put myself in lonely places, and then I get subjected to hanging out with the boys to make myself feel good about the meantime. Or maybe let me just drink this off and we'll think about, what we're going to do come Monday.
Yeah.
And then it just goes back and forth again. So I've been in every aspect of a fucking man's life that enduring hardship, especially out here, far away from home. You could be close to family, but when your mind takes you to a very dark place, it gets very lonely. That's why I said, even for somebody as a young man, just to hear what we have to say, a lot of it could probably help. But for the most part, I would rather know that you have the comfort in knowing that you're not alone and that you can reach out. Like I would talk to anybody about what you're going through because I know how that feels.
Yeah.
Did I ever think of wanting to take myself out? Many times. Yeah, absolutely. So many times. And that's why I say now it's more gratifying because I've now known that I've been preserved to come this far to fucking spread some kind of message. And we're working on it. And, that just goes to answer that if you don't see me, that don't mean I don't like you. That means we're cutting down some sakati. We're making way. We're trying to make a way.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know how far the sakati goes, but there's a way through this fucking jungle.
Like during that time, like when you speak of like all the time, like where you like felt alone or anything like that, like you didn't have I wouldn't think you had a vision of where you're at now. Like you didn't see yourself doing anything like that. But like during those times, like what was this? What did you use to like just keep going? Like what was it that like kept you from, doing the thing, like harming yourself or like just doing something so destructive that you wouldn't be able to come back from?
Mine was always like family, home, and I've always had like deep like ancestral beliefs. Like I always had that sense of like make your people proud, and those are what pull me out of like dark places. And then just for the most part, like knowing where I came from and like who my father was and what he would want for me, and that willingness to always want to be the warrior, which I was always a warrior. I just had to go through all of this to fucking solidify that, But for the most part, bro, it's just really finding a lot of solace in myself. And I think what I really would have benefited from is if I would have admitted to myself who the hell I was back then. That would really like change everything. But I didn't have the mindset nor the power to do that.
Yeah.
You have to be brave to fucking call yourself out.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that then. But that would have been the difference maker of how we would have progressed way back then.
So is that like is that that same stuff that you're saying, like that kept you from doing anything destructive is still the same stuff that you use now, even with you after you told yourself like, or you're aware of all your flaws and the stuff that could get you out of, the dump and become the better version of yourself. Those are the same things that are still you're using to keep getting better now, even though you've gotten past that part, right?
Yeah.
Which is
100%, but just with more clarity.
Yes.
More clarity and more honesty. Honesty with self.
Yeah.
And bro, you have to keep in mind too that it's still a battle, right? Because now that I'm a lot stronger, I can realize that there's always going to be battles. Like I can go back home and live there for a couple of years, and there's going to be things like if this is where the weak people go back home, they're going to get tested, right? Because they'll be like, like fucking this guy's been Americanized, or, like shit like that. And it's crazy that little shit like that hurt people.
Yeah.
And
I was one of them. It would bother me too. But now I fuck.
But okay. I just inserted that in there because you could be going through a lot of shit and a lot more shit gets thrown at you. You can do a lot of self-inducing shit and then other people would project on you. That's why I'm really big on like the societal norms or fucking emotional blackmail.
Yeah.
I just saw that yesterday.
Mhm.
It's like fucking emotional blackmail,
Yeah.
bro, where people use, culture, obligations, fear,
Mhm.
to make you decide who the fuck you need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I said fuck that.
Mhm.
Be your own motherfucker.
Yeah. 100%. Paul, what is it, Paul? Like, since you've gone past, you've gone past that same thing. Because I'm thinking about, when I think about you, when it comes to this whole thing of, getting past those hardships that we have to deal with. Because a lot of people, like, especially on the softball field, and I've played with you forever. You play with Will, and you've been on the softball field on teams where you are the man, you're the captain of that team. But if you're speaking, when you were just speaking about like how you were, you're like basically timid, right? And you weren't confident in yourself, but you're confident playing the game.
Yeah.
But as a leader, like how, because obviously you're fucking really good at playing the game, but as a leader, having that, if you're saying you don't have confidence, which is something that a leader has to have, leading other men, especially, whether it's softball or anything, like how are you trying to project that, like without showing that you didn't have confidence, right? How are you projecting leadership to your softball teams or to your teams or the people around you, your family even, like without really believing in yourself that you had the confidence to be able to speak or fucking just lead or say the right things to get them going or whatever it was or to get them to championships and stuff like that you have won and stuff and all that. This is where we dig. Because I've seen it just because over the years, right? Like over the years, we all know the softball player you are, but it's always like trying to find there can be people that are good at anything, but are you a leader? You know what I mean? Are you a leader? Like, how do you lead? Like, how are you finding that? How are you digging for that?
Honestly, I'm still trying to find that within myself. Honestly, I mean, like you said, I could be good at the game, but it's like, am I a true leader? Just to think about it, am I a true leader to actually lead us to something great? Am I capable of that? I'm still working on that, so I can't really say that I feel like I can be a leader at the moment. Because I mean, if I say I'm gonna lead us as a group, not me solely trying to like come up with a game plan or just strategize on how to make us win as a whole. But it's more, I mean when, as me leading the pack, it's more I'm always involving as a group, because I feel like if I try to become a leader and we fail, it's on me. Right? So that's why when I look at the leading aspect, I try to make it as a group. So I more just trying to shy the thing, the failure more as a whole rather than on me, because I'm still trying to find and accept that if I fail, it's if we fail, it's on me. So that's why I say I'm still working on it. I honestly don't. I feel like if I want to become a leader, I'm still working at that. So I can't tell myself I could lead the boys or just a group of guys, because I'm still working on it myself.
You're honest with it.
Yeah.
Honest about it,
Yeah,
though.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah. No, that's good though. Because I've always seen you as like obviously you're like one of the best fucking of our people. But it's always like wondering, what aspects like do your teammates bring and people around you bring, that are they like they're aware that you're the guy, but are they feeding into you like you're the guy too, like are they feeding into you like and giving you not just the respect on the field, but the respect to make the decisions to make it happen. But I mean, leadership does come with that, the whole accepting that if we do fail or if we do win, it was because of the decisions I made,
Yeah.
So I think that's probably one of the biggest, and that's probably the one thing that's, at least in my head, is the one thing that would keep you from believing that you are, is not accepting that you have to accept that, you know what I mean? Because like as a leader, like you have to accept whatever decisions you make, whatever fucking performance you put out, the failure or the success is on you. And you, first and foremost, it's on you. Like, even when what's that, like, for like this last Labor Day, right? I expected my team to do pretty well. And I had one hit the whole tournament. Like, fucking terrible, right? And
Is that because you were busy leading?
I mean, it was just I think, but it's part of it though, like, as a leader, I expect to lead by example as well. So, like, my performance should also,
Yeah, it's
Should help the
wild.
team.
We can stay on this topic for a while because if we're going back and talking about how we view leaders or people that have been examples to us, I think we can slowly use softball to translate leadership within our communities because one, softball is a big thing in our community
Yeah.
and it's very relatable. So using analogies and metaphors
Yeah.
from what we all know how to do, where majority of our community knows how to do,
Yeah.
it's going to be fucking very helpful. Like you said, right? You have to listen twice or get the right topic to get you to understand
Yeah.
the context.
Yeah.
And just to touch on Pao, Pao is a good leader, but he's more of that leader that leads within the group. I think what he was trying to say is that he's trying to find himself to where he's the top,
Yeah.
like delegating shit,
Yeah.
But as far as like a support leader, he's fucking great at it.
Yeah.
The thing that sucks is not his fault. It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah.
And I'll call that out. Because when Pow's good, everybody's good.
Yeah.
When Pow's down, everybody's
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. I've seen that
And
too.
then
over
they're
the
jumping on him. And now we're going to take that out to the community too. Same shit.
Yeah.
When somebody has, won the lotto and everybody going to buy everybody beer, good. We need no more money, no more friends, right?
Yeah.
It could go so many fucking different ways.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. That's
But
right.
talking about leadership, like it's really a big responsibility, and then you also have to like remove that, from your head. You cannot remove it from everybody's thoughts, because if you lose, it's your fault, right? If you win, hey, fuck you, good job, right? So you got to remove that aspect from your head. It's just about leading the community and the men as a group, and you got to be able to call it out. Right? Like, I put myself in a situation like that, and there's times where I had to rely on my elders, right? Like when we're doing something with the team and then something, like some money issue, and it's like, fuck. All right. So I go to my elder, hey, there's this, and this. This is how I want to address it, and I know it needs to be addressed like that. Go ahead. That's how you got to do it. Roger that. I mean, I'm the same. I'm trying to find myself, and I know there's people that are older than me because now I have emotions about this, but I have to apply logic to it. Because at the end of the day, I'm saving everything, not just myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of responsibilities, and a lot of things have to come into consideration. I mean, granted, it's sad because it's fucking softball,
Yeah. I know.
but it brings out a lot of context.
Yeah.
That's
That's why I don't like to bring it up a lot, because it is just softball, but but I think it's important just because it's been such a big part of our lives, and especially how our community has seen us. Like, like, softball has been fucking part of us since we came out here. Like, and I know it was easy for us to grow into leaders into the softball community because of the performance we would put out, and easily they would rely on us to, take leadership of a team and lead a team too. And then we've all won the Labor Day tournament, so we kind of know what it looks like to try and get a team there. And I've always pointed directly at, especially with like TMB, like I've always pointed directly at poison in the team. Like, anything poisonous in the team, I want it out immediately, because I know that is the one thing that keeps you from winning, is just one poisonous mind, one poisonous voice, one person that has a fucking bad attitude about them not being able to play or some dumb shit like that, them worrying about themselves, and they're just all about themselves, getting time on the field or some shit like that. That's always been super poisonous to a fucking team. And I know that but I bring that to everything, right? So like, anything that we do, that's going to go into the MB Run Club. That goes into this business when I start hiring people. If you have a poisonous mind that has anything negative, and you're not about the vision, we can't have you. Like, it just will not work like that. And I'm sure at up north with you guys in Electric North, you don't want poisonous mindsets in your right? And they weed themselves out, like you guys would say.
So
right?
I mean, that's the thing, and we could use that in our softball group. We can use that in our community, right? We have peer assessment. Like if one of the guys start acting up, they get called into the office, and then we give them a warning. If they keep progressing to act up, we bring the council in, and then we decide if we want to keep that person or we vote them out. As easy as that. It's about accountability, and that's the same thing. And that's what you're going to need for your leadership. Is you just need to tell people the truth. You are not helping anybody by withholding information, right? So if you like say, hey, like we don't need you because you suck, name it. Just say you suck. Yeah, he's gonna get fired up. Yeah, he's gonna get fired up, and he's gonna go look for another team. But guess what? He took that energy away from you. Now he's gonna go fucking put it on somebody else, right? And they're gonna think, oh, we're gonna build this better community to fucking beat your community. Like, nah, you need to build that person to build your community.
Yeah.
You know. And at the same time, when you get something like that, like for me, I get kids. I coach kids, right? So when the kids are not performing, that's me. That's me. I cannot say, hey, are you dumb or what? You know, that's me in how I coach and how I lead, right? I need more help. I have more coaches now. So now I know who needs help, who needs what, certain things to get to where they need to go. I apply certain people that match with that kid, and I let them work through all their stuff. Now we're all fucking flowing together. Everybody's getting what they need, what they came to get, and we're all moving forward, right? Our team, OnlyFams. Why is the reason why we're so successful? Everybody would say, oh, because they're a bunch of all-stars. No, because we're all fucking mature. We all fucking grow. We all done growth. Softball is just a thing that we use now to fucking go and get our shit out and have fun. Right? That's the difference. You can make another all-star team similar to that, and it's never gonna compare. You can split us up and make more all-star teams. And it's nothing's going to compare to that. Why? Because there was no drama. It was all about giving good gratitude, all about cheering each other up, picking each other up. Nothing about anybody making stupid shit or anybody's life that came. I mean, that's after the fact. But, you know, like what you brought to the table, there was no bad apple. None of that shit.
Yeah.
That's the difference maker. And that could very much translate into the community too. Like if you see somebody that's out of line, you just gotta call it out. You cannot at times we do call people out, but we do it in light. We make it funny, make it fun. To where now they revered us as I knew that. You know, just instead of like, but why the fuck are you acting stupid like that?
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, bro, I'm sorry.
It's more about worrying about the reaction when you say something. So you
People
say it in
pleasing.
a jokingly
Now we're
manner.
people pleasing.
Yeah. Because it's like that's the whatever you tolerate, you're accepting as a standard for your people. So you allow one to do something like that.
Later,
But you allow one person to do something like that. You allow one person to act out of the standard out of what you expect for the vision, and then other people will start chiming in and start doing the same thing because you allowed it, you tolerated that. So if you keep allowing that, that's why you just know you can't have even one person be that guy, because it brings down other people around them from one, and then it gives them permission to act in the same way. So, and if you want to win in life, if you want your community to grow, if you want your team to grow, as people, as fucking players, as whatever it is, your family to grow, you have to like that standard, and holding that means the world. It means everything to the vision of what you see. You know, your group going to wherever you see them going.
It's wild, man. We can sit and look at all the teams that we've seen, and I can pinpoint that. I can tell you, I'll take a team and make that team a motherfucker. I don't give a shit. It could be the last place team, right? And I'll make that team somewhat, make other teams earn their money, right? And in time, that team's gonna be a motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's a fucking leader, right? Like, I know you can do that, and you can do that. It's just a matter of playing your pieces and then taking care of who needs to be taken care of. Because you already got the boys that already have it, but you need support crew, right? So you got to be able to address that. In the community, as men, we need that too. I'm pretty sure that's what they did back in the day. Like that's why they have men's house. I mean, not everybody can go in the fucking house, right? If you're outside the house and you're not inside the house, why are you outside the house? And what do you need to do to get inside the house, right? And if it's because of royalties that you cannot be in the house, what are you doing outside? And do you understand your position and who you are and what you can bring to help make the community better? same shit. Like our ancestors done this shit many a times.
Yeah.
We've just got so convoluted that there's so many different things now. Everybody has different beliefs. Everybody wants to fucking quarterback shit after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, when we can just sit down and call it out.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I roll with the boys that I roll, and there's a reason why I enjoyed myself, and I also know what I brought to the table. Like, I'm not the fucking, I wasn't the guy there, right? But there was something about my energy that I understood that needs to be there. And then I apply that energy. Like the elder, the father figure, you know, the manamko, like that's my energy. That's why I chose to play with these guys versus go, you know, with the older guys. Because the older guys, they're not about my energy. You can already tell that.
Yeah.
They want to have fun. I would love to play with them, but I still want to like be at a place where there's like destruction, like fucking war.
Yeah.
Not up there like, oh yeah, we're, you know, watching a bunch of us walking around like our backs hurt and pulled quads and stuff like that. Like there's going to be a time for me. And I hope by that time, I'm not even doing anything. I'm still coaching, you know, being part of what we do in some capacity, but not putting myself through stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
It's wild, man, and it's become so much importance too back home that it's to our own detriment. Like I remember going back home, and there was a tournament up at Capitol Hill, and the kids had a game, you know. So they all came by like, Uncle Will, we're gonna go. We'll be back in like 2 hours because we have a game. And then they drove down and they came back. I was like, you guys game done? I was like, oh no umpires because they're all over here playing and drinking.
Holy shit.
And I was just like,
The fuck, dude.
like it's so fucking popular and it's so good. But like how can we use that to translate into every aspect of the community? To even those that are not involved in it.
Yeah. I mean,
You
fuck,
know.
if you can only imagine. If you're doing it to kids, like at a damn like Little League baseball game, you can imagine those same men are probably doing it to their own kids at home. You know? Like it's so fucking, I feel like that shit just goes deeper than just you're more worried about fucking drinking, getting drunk and pleasing people, you know, your friends there instead of providing to the community. Like what kind of decision, I don't know what kind of decision you're making, which we'll go deeper and further.
That's why I said
It's
like
fucking crazy, bro.
like if you thought about that and you made it more about the community, so like in every kids games on any given weekend, how much people would be there? If they weren't all playing softball because nobody was there, how many people would be at the fucking games watching the kids and trying to build something?
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know, maybe this is a good prelude to, you know, talking about sports if that's even an outlet for some kids that want to get out of the island besides joining the service, you know. And I know there's a lot of people that are smart that could get academic scholarships and, you know, their parents work for the government and they were able to save them money and they can, you know, they know they're educated on like FAFSA and all that other stuff. And there's always those kids that have that. I'm always rooting on for the kids that don't have shit.
Yeah.
And them not knowing where they can go. What can they do if they wanted to play sports to get out of there, right? That's why I said instead of you always make time for everybody else to enjoy themselves because it's a good time to go and unload. But it can't be repetitive to where now it's taken away from everybody else in the community that are still growing.
Yeah.
Right? Like why can't the program be a lot more like stricter and more better? And it doesn't have to be baseball either.
Yeah.
You know, there's other scholarships that the kids can get out here. If you want to play soccer, then fucking make something soccer.
Yeah.
Right? It's enough. I mean, with that said, I guess I'll just give a shout out. But what's that kid's name that just signed with Tennessee? Anthony
Ogumaro? Is it
Anthony
Ogumaro?
Cade Ogumaro. Yeah. That, see, like now that's different, right? That is very different. That is awesome. Very good job to his parents for raising a kid like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he already has the size.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. I don't think I've ever grew up with anybody in Saipan that's that big.
Yeah,
You know.
he's big.
But no, I wanna give him shout out, man. No pressure, but more power to you, man, in everything that you want to achieve. And for all the kids back home, that's the kind of person that you want to lean into for power and to seek. Like if you see something that is doing greater, you just look at what it's doing and then try to dig deeper into getting knowledge, attaining knowledge that it's gonna help you get there. And it doesn't have to be football because I know not a lot of us are gonna be that size.
Yeah.
But it could be in education too. Whatever it is, like that's something greater.
Yeah, because it took all of that for him to get there, the education and the work. And I think the thing that gets the thing is because I know when I was coming out, it was kind of the same thing, right? And you think, okay, you see this kid. And he gets picked up by, he was looking at a lot of schools. Tennessee was the only one. A lot of schools gave him a call, right? So that means he was wanted. He was a very seeked out player in high school. So, but you have to think about all the things that he did just to get to that point. And you're talking about going through middle school and high school football, all the reps that he had to do, all the weightlifting sessions, all the extra work that he had to do, all the extra study halls, all the fucking weightlifting sessions, all the drills, all the sprints as a bigger guy and all this stuff. Like, that is what you need to fucking think about. This kid didn't just make it just because he's big or just because, he was in the States. Like, that doesn't matter. The fact that, he might have been in a good situation or in a better situation than the kids back home, but that doesn't mean that shit was handed to him. Like, you're not getting to Tennessee. That shit is not handed to you. It does not fucking matter what you think about it just because he was in the States. The work is what he put in, and that's why he got, the reward that he just got. He is being rewarded. That's what I love seeing is him being rewarded for all the work that he put in. That made him he was an offensive lineman or something, I think. Offensive lineman. And he did all that work to be picked up and be seen by all these colleges. And this is something that the kids back home and the kids that are out here already, do not overlook that, because that is what got him there, and that's the sad part, that sometimes we think that it's just all his family or his, the situation, or no, the kid put the work in. That's the way he got there.
He put the work in, and guess who else puts work in? His parents. Like that's a lot of work, and I think that's lost upon a lot of us.
Yeah.
And I tried it too, right? Like just having kids play sports and you want so much greater for them. It's a lot of work. It's very taxing. And I can see where, like, we get caught up in societal norms again. We cannot go this weekend because your sister has whatever. Like, to get the things you want, you got to do the things you never have. Like, there's going to be things that are going to get sacrificed, right? But more so, that's more for, like the kids back home, man. Like, look at that. Look at that, but don't overlook all the, like you said, the hardships. Like, there's so many different things that have to get done to get to where he's at.
Yeah.
And that's not even the end of where he wants to go.
So much work he has to do.
Yeah.
And he knows that.
And it gets harder as you get older. And I love the kid because, I mean, I would love to fucking have him sit here with us one day.
Yeah.
I just love how humble he is. Like a big fucking teddy bear. I was just like, dude.
That he can just fucking mollywop people too, just throw people around. He can. Yeah.
And I hope that, I know that with him doing what he's doing, it's gonna bring a lot of life to people back home in sports, or just being proud of somebody that's from our culture that's doing something like that. I hope it's not revered like how Blind Madris got revered in Palau, right?
Oh.
Like, I don't, like, that's cool. Like, I love that, but I want, if I was in Palau, I wouldn't want to bring him just to have him more of like a celebratory thing.
Yeah.
Like, I would bring him to ask him, like, bro, let's sit down and have a program, like write a fucking roadmap for kids to fucking make it to where you're at. Not bring you here so you can sign a bunch of signatures for all these kids. Like, fuck your signature. Like, help me write a program that is going to make kids that want to be where you're at get there. Like that.
So that even when he's not there, that they can be training in that way.
And then can you come back every year and bring bigger players and do training camps, do this, let's go to Saipan, let's go here, So not only are you building everybody up, you're beefing up macro games. Now it's more competitive because everybody's getting a lot more serious, and everybody could start fucking looking towards, fuck you, we're going to get there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
instead of just, hey,
100%.
yeah, he's gonna come visit and you have him sign your shirt and all that. Like, that's cool, but what the fuck is that gonna do for longevity
Yeah.
of the sport or even the dreams of the kids that want to be there? That shit is very temporary. You know,
Yeah. Do you think like so? If we're digging into sports a little bit, especially for the kids back home, because baseball, we know baseball is almost fucking like it's gone. Like from back home, baseball was the biggest fucking thing when we were kids back home, and baseball is like almost non-existent anymore. With like the younger groups, I think they might have started back up again. I don't think they have like Sapa Major League again or something like that, but I know they have something. But I attested that to one everybody that kind of pushed like baseball so much back in the day, the good players and everybody that spearheaded, Saipan Little League, Saipan Major League, the amateur league and all that stuff. Everybody's gone for the most part, especially the players. But so then this is me also taking ownership of that as well, where me going as far as I did, not going back and bringing back that the skills and the stuff that I learned along the way, and bringing that back to create the system, the same thing you're saying, right? To help more players get to that point, at least to that point, to the level at least that I got to, that I know that can bring more players, and all this shit that I had to do to even get there. And there's a lot of players that have gone way further than and I totally understand that. But I still have always felt like it was a responsibility of mine to go back and share the experiences that I went through to be able to help more players. But knowing now that kids aren't even as interested in baseball anymore, that kind of fucking sucks. And that kind of digs the heart a little bit, knowing that I do take part in that, that I didn't go back. After all the years I spent representing the island, that I didn't go back and give back, before that all that shit happened, like right now, like especially now.
It's a lot deeper too, because like us going back, you going back, sharing the stuff you have, it sucks because there's nothing that's gonna keep that going.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they already have, especially the coaches now, they already have their fucking view.
Yeah, and that's why it's only more awesome if you brought like a pro player.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's temporary.
Yeah.
Because it's just gonna be, there's so many different things that have to get broken down for anything to fucking grow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if I was a coach back then, or if I was coach back home now,
mm-hmm.
without being here and doing everything that we're doing, I can say that, we would probably only coach a team because we still want to relive our dreams.
Mm.
And then we're going to talk more about it when we're drinking and playing softball.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not going to be trying to rewrite the program and trying to figure out like, how can we build a funnel to start funneling kids? How can we get in contact with people in America to where even if we just send these kids to junior college, just to JUCO, right? Like that's not in the mindset. That's my mindset now.
Yeah.
That's why now when I think if the three of us were to go back home, in my head, if I was to coach a team, there would not be a fucking team.
Yeah, they're not,
because they wouldn't want to fuck it. They don't want the smoke.
You wouldn't understand the sacrifice it takes to get to.
They don't want the
they
smoke.
Don't understand that.
They don't want. I think the work is going to be way too hard for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think all the routine shit is going to be way too much for them.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to go bat. They don't want to do situational stuff, like very similar to like how we grew up, like our life.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want to break anything down. We just kept going for the next big thing.
Yeah.
We didn't know how that there was incremental steps to where you need to go.
Yeah.
And because we missed all those steps, we lost out on greater opportunities because we skipped to here, and now all this that we needed to get here.
Yeah.
We're starting over again.
Yeah. And then that's that shit you're talking about, like the stuff that you need to get here is where you're building like the muscle memory. And the muscle memory like is that helps you get to the next level where you're not having to, you can go from here without having to think about the shit that you already did here, because it's already like that shit is planning.
Yeah.
You
have to find stuff to compound to that.
Yeah. So now you're spending more time doing extra shit that you could have built on the foundation of it to do all the other things, but then you didn't focus on that.
They say that we're like working harder, not smarter.
Yeah.
Or doing two things once. What else? Doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Yeah.
What's your take on?
Yeah, Paul. You had
this is your subject.
I want you to talk about it because you brought up. I remember we went Korean barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went Korean barbecue. We went date night. And then me and you were saying on site, you were telling me, because you just came back from Saipan, and you said you spoke to one of the CNMI teams. I don't know if it's a softball or a baseball team, but you spoke to them.
That was the fast pitch
Yeah.
girls that went to
Microgames?
Yeah.
Majul.
Majuro.
See, and you had,
Oh,
you said
man.
you had experience with
Bro,
that.
you say that wrong. Anthony Gates gonna tackle you, bro.
You had an experience with that, and that shows. And when you were telling me that whole thing, that just basically displayed the mindset of our youth back there, our players back there, where there's nothing past that. There's nothing past micro games to them. That's why they see, and that's truly why I believe they have that mindset of why they were, behaving the way they did when you were speaking. But if you can tell us a little bit about that, that would be very interesting for the people to hear.
I'm all ears.
Yeah, when I was back home, I just so happened to be at the field to check one of our boys, Preston. And then I went over to the field because I saw the fast pitch girls playing. Practicing. So I just went over there to, pay my respect to one of my uncles, my Uncle Manny, who was managing the team. And then he pushed me to the side and, tells me, hey, you want to speak to, say something to the girls? I was like, no, but sure, I can.
No, but thank you.
Yeah, no, but thank you.
I don't talk to girls.
Fuck. Oh shit. But yeah, back to that. Yeah, he was asking me like out of nowhere, like, to say something. I mean, he kind of brought everybody together, and before that, he was like, hey, do you want to go, say some pointers, for while they're hitting or something. I was like, okay, I can do that. I'm not, I've never made it to a level where, you should listen to me, but I play the game where I know I'm good at it, right? So I did that, and then at the end, he brought them together, and he's like, telling these females like how good I am, or I'm the best, like shortstop in Saipan or whatever. I was like, no, I was like, no, that's not me. But I say some words. But so I did that, and yeah, I didn't feel like I was worthy of doing that at the moment because I'm kind of like a nobody.
You are not a nobody. You have to be able to take compliments the way that you want to give them.
Yeah, I get that, but it's like I didn't see myself in that position, right? Just going back to being a leader, right? That could be something that what I say to them could lead them to something, right? So I take, I got to be confident about that again. But at the moment, I didn't feel like I was worthy of saying something to the girls that were going to, participate in this event. But all I said was, whatever you do, you have to do it as a team, as a group, carry yourself and just know who you're representing to your name, and you're representing Saipan, right? You carry that, and the way you guys are gonna win and just do great things is if you guys come together, right? So that's pretty much what I told these girls, and yeah, I'm still trying to recall what else.
Oh, you were saying there's someone that kind of disregarded what you speaking or teaching something. They kind of had something like, not that they disrespected you or anything, but they just they had an attitude like they don't care what you say, or that's when I was trying to one of the females, I was trying to kind of point out some stuff, while they're hitting. And yeah, she was like, I was like, oh, maybe if you change the way you're standing, or you move up further in the box, or move, just repositioning yourself to have a better angle or seeing the ball a lot better. Yeah, she kind of just blew that off and just started doing, So okay, if you're not gonna listen, then I'm just gonna, all right, we can just move on. So yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
maybe that could have been your speech.
Yeah, at the end of the day, yes, that could have been it. Yeah. But I just felt like, I
No,
mean, again,
it's you hit it on the nail. Like that. I thought that was pretty good for you not having to have been there all the times that they've been practicing.
yeah.
You know, just let them remind them of who they are, where they come from, their name, their family, who they represent. You know, but if you had longer, like you know, as well as I do, the reason why you guys lose because you don't want to listen. I mean, you just gotta make it out.
That's yeah. Oh, honestly, right.
I was about to ask, did they
yeah.
win? Like
No.
that's there you go. You had a poisonous mindset. It goes right back to that.
Yeah. So,
You just gotta call it out.
yeah. I mean, yeah. That's just going back to what we were
Yeah.
talking about. Yes. Those are the type of stuff that I work on personally. It's like being able to like, hey, I'm gonna call you out. Just having the confidence and like calling you out, or just like bringing stuff up, addressing stuff,
And that's why
and not worrying.
Yeah.
About the backlash or whatever.
Yeah, you did well. You did well, son.
Bro, it's fucking fucked up because that reminds me just of the mindset that person had was when I was in the Army. I was a private, bro, and we were doing PT in like a barracks in the hallway because it was cold as shit outside. So they're like, all right, we're gonna go do a barracks PT.
Fuck, you spoil you.
Shit, bro, it was Kansas, bro. That was Kansas. It was like -10,
You ain't in
fucking cold as
Kansas
shit.
anymore, Toto.
And that shit was It was so cold outside, right? So we go do barracks PT every now and then, right? So we're doing sprints up and down the halls, up the stairs and shit like that, push-ups, all that shit inside. But my team leader at the time, young sergeant, and I remember because I was in kind of in this mindset too, right? Where he's like, Alan, he's like, where are you from? I said, Saipan. He's like, Saipan, Sergeant. He's like, what is that, like Polynesia or something? It's like, no, it's a small island in Micronesia. And he's like, oh, Micronesian. It's like, I had a Micronesian soldier before. He was small-minded. Or he's narrow-minded, something like that. And immediately, like, in my head, I got mad. Like, I was like, you fucking white person disrespecting us again, Immediately in my head, I'm just getting mad. And, like, during that time, like, I'm a fucking private. All I do is take it, and I take the fucking hits, and I fucking keep going, and I keep pushing harder, right? And I push harder just because he said some shit like that. Like, he was like, I'm going to show you what the fuck we're about, And that's typical of us, right? I'm going to show you what the fuck we are. And a little bit after, like, it was probably fucking years after, I was just thinking, like, I always think back at that. And that's, why fucking, 13 years later, I'm thinking about it. And it's still in my head because he was right. He was right. And that's why I think it pissed me off, is because of how small-minded I was, even during that time, and how narrow-minded I was about, everything that, I've been taught and everything that I came up from and everything that I believed. I really was narrow-minded and small-minded to a lot of things. And I didn't believe that I could be a soldier that could become an aviation pilot in the Army. I didn't believe that's not for me. That's not for us. But that was something that I wanted to do. I just didn't believe I could. I wanted to become a Ranger. I always thought I was physically fit enough for it. I always thought I had the mindset for it, but I still didn't believe that I could be someone that could do that kind of shit. And then, just later, like after, and then going through this journey is what's really got me thinking back at that, because of knowing for sure how narrow or small-minded I was, not thinking how much is really out there and what the stuff that was holding me back. Like, I didn't think drinking was bad, like how much I drink. I didn't think drinking a case of 24 pack on the weekend was bad. I thought that was normal. That was normal, right? I never thought that was holding me back from doing anything. I didn't think that time was all that time I spent drinking was holding me back from it. I didn't think all that time that I was not being with my family or not fucking, doing the things I need to was holding me back. I just thought that this is part of it. I got to make this work. I got to make me drinking all the time and me wanting to be, whatever it is I want to be, that all has to work together, instead of knowing that I need to sacrifice a lot of those things and get a lot of those things out. But yeah, that I don't know, that story always fucking comes to my mind, just thinking about like the journey I've been on so far the last 3 years, and just knowing that when this fucking, and then hearing that, like that's what that is. It's just being very narrow-minded and thinking everything. And from what you've been taught on island and being so validated on the island, which is a very, very big problem. We're so validated on the island by the newspaper clips and all this shit like that. Like people telling us we're, all-star, though. Everybody knows you on the island. But our island is so fucking small. Like, everybody there might know us. Nobody outside there knows us. And that's the first thing I saw when I came out here. Like when I came out here after playing ball in Saipan, not one motherfucker knew who I was when I got on that baseball field. Nobody knew. I had to prove myself again, And so that's just one of those things, just being validated by, in just a small circle that nobody knows you, but you think you're big shit. So you're not willing to listen to people.
Just imagine that though. Like you came out here, have known the fact that nobody knows you, right? And then now you're battling. Not only are you battling for a spot where you're really relying on your physical abilities,
Yeah.
but you're battling like emotional,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, like just everything is getting tested.
So many things, bro.
And when you're narrow-minded, you only see like the red,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh fuck you, watch, I want to show you. And it's like we attribute that to fighting, right? Like when you go in rage, like that's how you lose.
Mhm.
When you calm your ass down, that's when you like open everything up
Yeah.
and you start assessing different things. You can even assess the fact that, man, I don't need to be in this fucking fight. Like fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna walk away.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't have that capability coming from an island.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean earlier when I said you gotta stay in the middle.
Mhm.
You cannot go too far one way to where you're red.
Yeah.
Right? Like you want to take that red energy and give power to that road that you're on.
Yeah.
You cannot go down because that's taking more energy from you
Mhm.
from pushing forward for yourself.
Yeah.
So you got to stay in between, and it's good that you heard it and then you actually like listen to it.
Mhm.
Because a lot of us would take all the good nuggets that we've been given and we've made them offensive to us.
Yeah.
We've made them somewhat offensive to where now, to our own detriment, like we're just fucking fighting everybody and everything and every emotion and every thought. And just wake up the next day, it's like you can't shake it off.
Mhm.
And then you have that spot in the back of your mind thinking of knowing where you want to go. And it keeps getting further and further because you keep battling the same shit that keeps fucking, circulating in your mind. The same people still circulating. You haven't addressed any of them,
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's just the caught from just being narrow-minded, not wanting to grow or think you don't need to grow. You think you already know what you have to know.
Yeah.
But one thing coming from back home is you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, for real. And the focus is the focus. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what that is keeping the focus, and not letting, like, thoughts are thoughts. That's just what they are, and emotions are emotions. Like, I'm really big on that. Like, emotions will not drive my actions. Like, we all go through it all the time. Like, whatever you're doing, what is your focus? Like, what is the focus of the day? What is the focus of, your vision? Like, whatever the problem is, focus on the problem and focus on the solution. Don't focus on the problem. Know what the problem is, focus on the solution. Like, if you're sitting there focusing on the problem and you're not solving it.
It's a distraction.
Yeah, you're focusing on emotions. Like, I know my emotions, like my emotions are up and down. That's just a feeling. But what is it that I do about it? What is it that I do? What can I do through this? And I think that's one of like our biggest problems. Like you were just saying, it's like we have this focus and this path we want to take, but then we have this emotion that takes us off course. And then we kind of make it some excuse to where this is who I am. I can't get back on course.
So so it's more of like the fact is knowing where you want to go and who you are.
Mhm.
You have to separate the emotions, which are the stories that you tell yourself.
Yeah.
And that's where you give your reasons to why you can't do that or why you shouldn't do that.
Mhm.
But deep down inside, the fact of the matter is that's who you want to be and that's where you want to go.
Mhm.
So you got to get rid of all that.
Yeah.
Those stories that we tell ourselves. I'm never going to be that.
Yeah.
That's impossible. I've never seen any of my people do that. So therefore I'm not one to make that happen.
Yeah.
I think it's good because we're all going through that same thing now, and like, fuck, we're going through it. Now we're being verbal about it.
Yeah.
So everybody, especially the younger ones, could start like thinking,
Yeah.
like, oh shit, this is what I need to do. And if you want to call and talk about shame, like I have a lot of shame I can share. If it's going to help you, I'm more than happy to fucking tell you. Like, because it's relying on something that hurts you more, for me, sometimes gives me more power than it does anything else. Right? Like I'm not relying on any outside source. And a lot of it is probably like self-induced too.
Mhm.
It's like, you dumb motherfucker, man. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Even like intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why the fuck you think of that? So I start laying back now, meditate, like, why the fuck you think of that? right? And emotions. Another thing about being factual, you got to apply logic to it because there's a lot of moving parts, especially if you already have a family, you're a man. Like you can think, oh, I want this, I want that. Okay. Emotionally, it's probably like really, it feels really good. But if you logically think about it, what has to be broken down to achieve that?
Yeah.
Do you have the power to do that? And what is it breaking? Who are you breaking while you're doing that?
Yeah, you really think about what you're sacrificing in that.
Yeah.
In that, you know.
Yeah. Well, fucking think deep.
Yeah. Sacrifice. Yeah. Man.
What was your other word, pal?
Connection,
Connection and loyalty. Right?
loyalty,
And what was the first one?
progress.
Connection, progress. Roger that. Progress. Yeah, I seen a lot of progress, but more so, I think more of our progress is where it's supposed to happen. Now we need to progress in all the things that need to happen. So, what are some of those things for you that you're progressing that needs to happen?
Me, just within myself personally, growing from where I started to like wanting to fix myself, I guess, as a man. Just being more honest and just building and being there more for just myself.
Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those are very important because if you're not honest and you don't want the change for yourself, man, it's not going to happen to whatever it is you're trying to build, and it won't transfer to whoever it is, you want to love or build at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. That's good, man.
So yeah, that's a work in, again, progress.
Oh, it's either we're working towards it,
Yeah.
or you're staying static,
Yeah.
and everything that flows through you, man, it has to flow like a river, right? Because when you stay static, it's like pond water, and pond water is nasty. Would you drink pond water? Fuck that. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to swim in your pond.
I drink some of his bath water though.
But yeah, just working a lot on myself, and just being there 100% pure, just knowing that moving forward, it's just not giving a fuck, and just know that whatever I say, it's 100% pure and wholeheartedly what I meant with just intention, purpose, meaning.
When you say not giving a fuck, what do you mean by that?
It's just like not caring. Whatever I say, there's people could have a different, just look if I tell you something or explain, and whatever you think and or how you receive it, that's on you. That's that's because I have to keep moving forward, to keep working on myself.
Got it.
So
I think that's crazy how that's how far you've come.
yeah,
Because
the whole time since getting into whatever I got myself into, hanging out with you, I was always afraid to speak up, because I was always afraid of what people think, so 2025, there's a lot of giving, like not giving a fuck.
a lot of giving, but not giving a fuck. Yeah.
So, but yeah, just being honest to myself. I wanna just be true, and whatever I did in the past, who I did wrong, or you think I did wrong or whatever, like I'm moving from that. I'm starting fresh. I have to build for myself, and as a man. So that's the path we're taking.
There's a reason why you started the journey, bro. There's a reason why. Because we always know that there's going to be these fucking battles that we come across, and we could have been different people during those battles. If we didn't start this journey, and we wouldn't see it, we wouldn't be as insightful as we are for these for these battles that we have to face. And we could have been taking these battles on a totally different fucking way. I just had the same kind of fucking instance.
Or they could have been taking you
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
for a
exactly
ride.
that. Yeah, they could have been taking you instead of you controlling that, and see, like just that alone, like you doing everything that you've done the past couple of years, working on yourself. Now you're taking control of that situation instead of you just trying to, those kind of things where you're just trying to skate by so that then see what happens. It's not really that anymore, right? Like you know that you can fully control, most of the situation of at least what you at least most of what you do desire out of it, but then at the same point, like you can live with whatever outcome happens and then keep moving forward from there. As long as you work on the same thing, like you just said, focusing on the things that's going to help build you still and all that. So,
Yeah.
I fucking love it, dude.
gang.
I think we're all on the journey, and then we're all at different levels of the journey. But the cool thing is that I really enjoy about it is that we're conscious about our actions, and we have consciousness for each other, and we acknowledge each other. I think that's a key part, and also, we can push that out into the community too. Like as you're starting to build your run club, that's not just for people that already run, right? Like you're taking people that want to make a change
That's
in
mostly
their life.
that's mostly what I'm aiming for. Yeah.
And then that's good, and that's physicality. That's working on the body, and I think together also we're trying to figure out a way to see where we can make space for men to come and start finding themselves within their journey and riding along with us, tapping into that vulnerability and really rebuilding themselves, and hopefully one day in the future we would have a lot stronger community than we do now, which I know we have a really strong community, and I've always appreciated that. I'll never forget where I come from. I love every bit of it and how it's built everybody up. I think we can just take all the good things and just compound on them and come up with a much more positive, outlook on how we view and how we do things for the ones yet to come. I think I'm not going to say that we're not going to drink in the future, but if we're going to drink in the future, it's going to be a lot different celebration than the way we use it now.
Yeah.
If we do decide to do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's more of a meaningful gathering than it is, like that's what's bringing us together.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're celebrating something that brought us together, and it's with a lot of everything that we speak about and how much we want to change and all the progresses that we've gone through. So be on the lookout for that. That's a special project. That's a project for me. As far as progress for me, it's really just honing in on some of the things that I want to get back in. So I have lined up. I already got like 3 podcasts that I got on deck, including ours that I haven't put on. And a lot of it could be with just because of time and my schedule. But for the most part, I realize I've cleaned out a lot of my schedule, and I can start being more intentful and being more intentional on putting things where they need to be and having that same energy when those things need to be applied.
Yeah.
So progression for me is still obviously working on being more meaningful about my time and taking action on the things that I have in my head, the things that we talk about, and just making things better.
I think that's the progression for all of us right there, though.
Yeah.
I think we're the run club and like MV Fit all together, and then starting the men's group. I think that's all going to tie into each other, and I think that's all going to help each other. Like, I think it's funny because at this point where we're trying to give at this point, right? It's really giving all the lessons and everything that we've learned and everything that's helped us, and being able to put it face to face now.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be like, I think that's fucking beautiful and perfect. And that's something that, that's going to help our people a lot more when we put it face to face like that.
Roger that. And in due time too. And the reason why I reiterate Paul's progress for me is because I know that me leading a men's group is feasible. That can happen. Yeah. I don't have an issue doing that. The thing that I need to do is make sure that all of my I's are dotted and my T's are crossed. So when I get there, I'm a much formidable leader, and there's no question about where I came from. And whatever question I get asked, I have an answer to.
Yeah.
Because it's all on the table. So therefore, you don't question me.
Yeah.
You know who the fuck I am, right? So me saying that is that like stuff that I need to address with my family, stuff that I need to address with my wife. Like she's my support. So if I address things with her and she becomes even much more stronger of a pillar, why am I gonna fall back?
Yeah.
Right? Why am I gonna fall back? I fully entrust in myself. She fully entrusts in me, being a man and the leader for the community. What's gonna fucking go wrong?
Time to push it. Yeah, that's the perfect time. Yeah. Anybody, it's what's the date today?
12.
You guys know what happens in 8 days?
Martin Luther King.
That's one thing, but I wasn't really focused on that.
No, I don't know. I was just going back.
That was a black joke. Dude.
I have a dream that one day people from where I come from would flourish in the communities throughout America.
And yes, do it longer. All right, but
I forgot to raise.
Donald J. Trump is
Oh.
taking office on the 20th. And that's also my birthday, so that's my birthday present.
Roger that.
But hey, it doesn't matter who the fucking president is. It doesn't matter who fucking is in charge of your fucking gym group or whatever. It's based off of you. You control your destiny.
100%.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I love that Donald Trump is coming into office, and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about it. I just fucking think that he's a better option, the best option for this country right now. And this country, I think, needs an honest fucking leader that people can open up to and resonate with, and we come back to realness and not fucking all the delusions of society. And I'm excited for what he's going to bring our country and because he's what our country, I think, needs right now. He's the best option for our country. So
in 8 days, pal, you're going to know again what a woman is.
yeah, we'll be back to 2 genders.
Yeah.
2 genders and 8. Hey, he's wearing the right sweater. Yeah. No one is coming to save you. Not even the president of the United States.
Not even the fucking president. You have to save yourself. But, got anything else? Anything else you want to get deep on?
I mean, how much time we got, dog?
We're at 2 hours now. 2 hours and 5 minutes.
I think Pao has like 30 more minutes.
Oh, okay. Damn, I got 30 minutes. Shit.
I have a dream.
I don't know.
That's
One day.
No, I mean, now that we're talking about like president and seeing how
that's where I wanted you to go.
Seeing how, like not only people in America kind of been fucking controlled the last 4 years, how everybody's been tricked into believing certain things and caused a lot of people to fight against each other. Pretty sure it breaks up families, as it always does. My main concern goes to, the topic number 1. No one's coming to save you. What are you doing to save yourself? Or are we just going to keep relying on the government? Especially when we move like closer to people back home. Like if you're reliant on like government welfare and food stamps and all the services of the government, and when the typhoon hits, you rely on FEMA. Like, what are we doing as leaders and as community members to get ourselves to where we're not reliant on such services, where we're more taking care of ourselves first and foremost, and then those could be supplemental, insurances that we have, or it could be utilized for other things to better the community rather than the same shit over and over again, right? Like one, maybe like the food stamps is probably like some of it is like overboard, maybe we can find answers to those. Like why are they overboard? It's because people, maybe obviously the prices of the food back home, but then again, why are we buying foods that are not conducive to good health? Why are we bringing in food that's not conducive to good health? Why aren't we building more programs to get our people into better shape, better health, better mindsets, and then also helping them be more self-sufficient rather than just keep perpetuating the same? That's like me taking the reign after you. After you're governor, I come in and I say, okay, I'll just The only reason why I won is because I increased the food stamp, or some sort of semblance to where now everybody agrees with me because I'm perpetuating comfort and easy versus like, hey, let's change the game a little bit. Let's fix our schools so we can get our kids better educated a lot quicker, get them out to where they can go achieve greater things, come back and build better communities, like things like that.
Yeah.
I've always had that issue, and then when you want to talk about presidency and the United States of America, and if you ever question my loyalty was always there because they came and liberated Saipan from the Japanese. So, are you willing to be subjected to a fucking Chinese concentration camp if they invaded Saipan? Or what the fuck are you going to do to fight? Or are you just going to be like, now you're going to be fighting fighting each other, just like how you guys fight each other for a government job based on who you know, and you start being deceitful to people around you because you want to put yourself in a better position. And when you're in that position, you're not doing anything to help anybody else.
Except for yourself.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things we can break this down with, but that's what I like to call it. We war game it. So a good example, like up here in where I'm from, like Lake Stevens. So from where I'm at, my house is, and everybody at the gym, I know where the gym is, and I know where everybody lives. I can sit in my couch and know where I'm at in the city, where everything's at in the city. Like, do you have that mental capacity to think of shit like that? Because that's what I think of. If something was to hit the fan, or like these Venezuelan gangs coming out, through the borders and start terrorizing places, like we're waiting for that. We're not hoping that they don't come. We want them to come, right? Is that your mindset, or like what do you think? Do you have a good understanding of like Kent, like where you stay?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like, where would you go? Well, what if having those different what do you call it? There's just those different plans of what you would do, how you would fucking execute. What plans would you execute to keep your family safe first and foremost, right? It's always going to be top of mind, but just having that in your mind, knowing that it is possible, and not thinking like, oh, this wouldn't happen here. Like that's not the mindset you can keep. And usually when people have that mindset, that's usually when they become the victims of those kind of situations. So yeah, always having a plan and always knowing where you're at, just having some kind of just orienting yourself in the locations you're at and knowing where the fuck you are at all times, and just knowing your vulnerable, the vulnerable areas that you could possibly have in wherever you live, wherever you're going, and how you can basically fucking just be able to defend yourself.
And that's just you talking about yourself, right?
Yeah.
Think about your family.
Yeah.
Is your family like fuck, if I was gonna take somebody and they couldn't carry their weight, like what am I gonna do with that person? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to carry that weight. I'm glad that Cadence she's capable. She has mental toughness, and I can carry Arya because she don't eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at it like that.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I have to worry about is telling her to stop asking questions, like keep your mouth shut. Right? Like those are the things that I worry about.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy that throughout all these times that we're talking about making progress and our plans and all the growth and everything, like I have time to like war game stuff because I know anytime shit can happen. Yeah. Because we live in a realm of probability, not possibility.
Yeah.
Probability, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You see the shit that happened in New Orleans, right? Like that shit could happen anywhere. One, that's why I don't like going to public places.
100%.
I choose where I go.
Yep.
And where I go, there's an order in which my family goes. Like there's a reason why Cadence, when I'm talking to you, there's a reason why Cadence stands behind me. Or, and then we sit according in the restaurant, like the wife knows where I want to sit, where I have to look. I feel comfortable. If I'm going to enjoy this time with my family, I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I always wear a pouch. I always carry my gun. My license is expired. But up in Snohomish County, we do not give two fucks.
Yeah.
Right? The only reason why I registered my truck because my wife finally fucking she made a big fucking mess. Got on my ass, so I went and registered the truck. I said, "Fuck you guys! At least it's only $80."
Yeah.
But I was withholding that. She's like, "You're gonna get pulled over." It's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get pulled over." And then I have everybody at the gym like cops. They're like, "Bro, that's a secondary offense. It's no longer a first offense. Like where they see you, they pull you over for expired tabs."
You have to be speeding or something like that.
Yeah, like broken tail light, whatever.
Yeah.
Like they'll. But for the most part, once again, having gone through all this defund the police and all this bullshit, they're fucking tired of it too. Police officers are fucking tired of it too. So they're just regulating shit now that needs to be regulated. And then you take it into Seattle, it gets fucking worse because not only do they don't care, they kind of have to care, bro, because they have limited resources because they've been defunded.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, you could tell.
even more so. Now, if you live in the Seattle community, you're more vulnerable. Right? And if you live like relying on police and you're outsourcing your safety, you're never gonna have an upper hand on anything when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
You're gonna fucking go crazy. You're gonna be looting the same places that people are at. They're gonna kill you, take your shit if they don't come to your house. You know, like you just have to be mindful of shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm the same way. Like when we go somewhere, I have to be able to see certain areas, you know, entryways and stuff like that. But like going back to the fucking, bro, like, I don't know if you saw it, but I was very aware of it during the Seattle Marathon when we were running around and Seattle police were guarding different areas. Fucking sloppy, overweight.
Oh yeah.
Uniforms look like shit. Like, dude, that's the standard that we're fucking holding now. That is crazy. I used to think of police officers as fucking, you know, like that's the job to have. Like that's the person that you look up to. You know, that those are heroes. What I fucking saw that day, you know, and I don't, like I said, like I don't like to go out very much either. I like staying in my routine. I like doing my shit and getting to work. But when that going out that day and seeing that shit, dude, that just gave me fucking even more proof to believe that we've been going in the wrong direction these last couple of years, bro. Those cops were fucking sloppy. It was so bad. Like if somebody was really in danger, could they really fucking save them or do anything? No, it's gonna be probably one of these fucking runners. Like how fucking bad is that? Like just looking around and just seeing like this is what's representing the city. This is what you guys have. This is the best you could choose. I couldn't even get a fucking cop job, but that's what you selected. Like that's fucking insane to me.
And that was because of DEI.
Yeah, bro. Like because what I don't know because of fucking we have to be better to fucking overweight people because they didn't have they didn't have a fighting chance. They had trauma from the past that caused them to fucking eat this and eat that.
And you know what's so crazy
They all
about
got
that?
trauma.
You know what's so crazy about those cops that were there while you guys were doing marathon? How much you want to bet that's overtime?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, because
That's
there's so many
overtime
of them.
pay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And you know and I'm pretty sure they're like they're what do you call that? Low staffed right now and everything like that. And I think they even got a fucking what do you call that? Pay increase too. In Seattle.
Those guys make upwards of 100,000.
Yeah.
Bro.
And how? Dude, I understand you fucking might have to go fight danger and shit like that and go in dangerous situation, but god damn, how like that? How would you do it like that? You know?
It's wild. How do you know Puyallup?
Yeah.
Like in the case of like when shit hit the fan, you get the word. Like, do you like truly know Puyallup? Like, where do you want to go and
Truly.
what's your
no,
route?
No, I don't truly know Puyallup.
So I'm getting out of Kent. I'm not staying in Kent. I know that. I don't know firsthand what's happening.
But
and I'm getting
where
out
I
of Kent.
truly know where I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna head north. We're gonna make our way north. I'm grabbing the guys that I know that want to go north, and we're heading north.
Oh, just a heads up. The cameras went out, so the rest of this is probably going to be audio, and you're probably just going to have a picture of us or something. This is sitting up there. There's no more room on the memory card for the camera, so yeah, just a heads up.
We're sweeping and we're going north.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because like even from where I'm at, I know like where you're at, and I know where you're at, and I think that's just based on experience of having gone up and down the state and knowing all the roads, and then only working in Kent and then also living in Puyallup. But there's a lot to mitigate, a lot of traffic, a lot of and when that's the thing you gotta keep is you gotta keep your mind together because people are gonna be in chaos.
Yeah.
But it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's gonna be traffic just because people don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like your next best bet is to just start walking down the hill to where there's like close to the freeway, and then take somebody's car.
Don't take your own shit.
Yeah, you're gonna get stuck in traffic.
Yeah, dude.
You gotta traverse all the bushes there, because you want to stay out of sight. But it's crazy. We bring this up, man, but it's like it's always been a thing for me because I always long for like back home. Like if I was back home and the shit was to hit the fan, obviously, like I said with the coaching earlier, I wouldn't have this mindset there. But now having lived outside and kind of assessing everything that's going on, if I was there today, I would get killed trying to change a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
Because I wouldn't. The standards there are not. They're not conducive for growth, nor are they any kind of semblance for people that would be safe. Because it's always good, happy living. Doing parades, having parties, like all that is good. But when shit hits the fan, like what's the actual order gonna be like? Like what is the cops? What are they gonna do in the community? How are they coming together to break down what they're gonna do? Like all of that.
Yeah.
Besides just actual doing police shit.
Yeah.
And also that's why you need better people in government because you need to challenge some of that shit. Like, hey, if this happens, like what are we doing?
Yeah.
Because one thing about government that I realize that maybe not a lot of people know because they don't work is that you're never going to find the person in charge.
Yeah.
Everybody just has positions,
Yeah.
but you're never going to find the actual person in charge because nobody ever has the answer.
Yeah.
Like that answer could go all the way to the top and then come back down, still waiting for a call to be made.
Because it's never like important to him. It's never that important to him.
Yeah, but at minimum, if I was there, the thought of seeing the chaos that's been created the past 4 years and everything that's kind of changing here in America, and I'm like lonely on an island, I gotta start prepping myself, especially if I'm a U.S. territory, right? Because now I'm closer to Japan, I'm China, all that shit. It's like I don't want to repeat that shit again.
Yeah.
I would rather die on my island than fucking be somebody's bitch that came here and overtook my shit. Now I'm watching my families do shit that that's besides what we're normally doing.
Yeah.
When we can just be like, fuck you boys, we're gonna fight
Yeah.
until we die. Because I'm not gonna live and watch you suffer. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to live and watch my wife be somebody's slave, my kids be somebody's slave. Like, yeah, no,
that hurts even fucking more.
Yeah.
That's way more painful. But I think that just goes into thinking like it could never happen, right? Like people just have that mentality, it could never happen. And it's the same thing like we were just talking about before we started recording, but it's like that whole thing of like believing that, the United States cannot be overtaken by some other country. And like our island, Saipan could never be overtaken by some other country. Like, I don't understand how that's like, in our head, we always have a security like mindset. Like you have a security mindset, you have situational awareness of what's going on around you at all times, and you understand threats at whatever level, and thinking that, it could never happen means you're not prepared. When you're not prepared means you're vulnerable to those things, right? And when like all these places that talk about like, oh, this somebody's land and this land was stolen and all this, it just goes right back into if you cannot protect your land can be snatched from you. Nobody cares about fucking documentation. Nobody cares about any of that shit. But if you are not powerful and you're not like our military is not strong enough to defend our land can be taken from us. If the Chinese come in here and our fucking military is more worried about fucking whether we have enough transgender fucking drill sergeants instead of fucking real leadership, and whether they are transgender or not, if they're good leaders, they're good leaders. But if they're more worried about just getting the first person into here because of this, because they're black or because they're fucking Chamorro or because of this or that, and it's not because of merit, then we're gonna have issues, and our land can be taken away from us fucking just like that too.
So going back into where you said they were there in their positions not based on merit but based on their like issues like transgender or
that's just
whatever
an example,
whatever things that they wanted to bring due to equality.
Yeah.
And you're seeing how the world has come in the last 4 years. do you question your government if they're on your side?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not asking you. I'm just like asking the people. Like, do you even question your government?
yeah,
Like when I was growing up, like listening about the army, like those are like fuck you, America, fuck yeah.
Mhm.
Now it's like oh shit, and then they're making relationships with other foreign countries, and they're opening up the borders. All these people coming in, like. Wouldn't you for a second think, wait, do they have like a plan of like are they in bed with all those countries and then they're gonna take America down
and be part of it.
and then be part of all those countries
Yeah.
and then what happens to everybody else?
Mhm.
Right? And then you start deducing it into all the different laws that they try to pass that go against the grain of everybody's beliefs in society. You know, they start taxing more.
Mhm.
You know, now in Washington it's fucking
Shit.
they wanna add more taxes. That's their solution.
Mhm.
It's like no, fuck that. All these faggots that run these things, they have no concept of who we are and what we're trying to do. What America's all they all lost that and they're trying to lose it in our minds.
Yeah.
Right? We're being progressional and all that stuff. Like progressional and progress that Pao mentioned is two different things.
Very
The progressional that they're about now is pushing their own beliefs into and their own narratives into everybody else. And the younger they can hit, the more they're gonna get.
Which
Yeah.
weakens the country. Their ideals weaken the country, in like all around. I mean, fuck, like just the thought of like how much money goes outside of our country instead of into our country. That alone should have people questioning. But I think the one like you were just saying, like, do those people that hear all of this and does it make you question the government? And a lot of them, I bet a lot of them would say that they wouldn't question because they're probably receiving something from the government, right? So if you're receiving benefits, why would you question the government if they're taking care of you? And we talked about this on the last one. Like if you're receiving from them or they're giving you free handouts, why would you question them? That's how they control. That's how they control you. That's how they keep you from being healthy, strong, fit, smart, rich. Just because they keep you comfortable enough to where you won't question it.
The only time you're gonna question it is when they pull you up to the line because now you know you're expendable and you be like, motherfucker, you fucking played me.
Yeah, I mean, shit. It kind of wakes you up when you're, especially in the military, when you're just known by your social security number. Like you're a number and you can be thrown away at any fucking time. And I mean, I feel bad like for people that just haven't woken up to the fact that especially how the government's gone, and especially the last couple of years where you have your own people suffering, and that's just like the biggest fucking thing to me. Is like our own people are suffering, and there's billions of dollars being put out into other countries. Like we shouldn't be taking care of anybody else if we're not taking care of ourselves first. And it's like that just shows like who the priority is. The priority is not the American people. If you're willing to give all this money out and make laws that support those things and support all these other things that don't actually support the American citizen, So, I mean,
Whew, this is deep. I think this one gonna have to be continued because I know Pao, you cannot see it, but
he's mad.
He's mad. He has a lot to say about this.
And that's where I think like just having, and believe me, I think Trump is a badass. I think everything he's done in his life is fucking solid, but I don't think he's he's like the savior, or he's the greatest man in the world. I just think it really is the best person to take over right now after everything we've gone through and everything that even like just. I always look at fucking people that can overcome and they can push through fucking anything. And if Trump hasn't fucking shown that to the American people yet, and you still don't understand that is fucking nuts, because this is the same man that's going to lead you through everything else that this country may go through in the next 4 years.
At the bare minimum, man, it's shaking shit up.
Yeah.
He's shaking things up.
Mm-hmm.
And then now more people should be able to see, like, instead of like jumping on the hate train.
Yeah.
Like maybe take like a minute and be like, why is he hated so much?
Yeah.
Right? And try to start digging into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is he hated so much?
And by who?
Building equations.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he talking about no more money to Ukraine? Why are these people talking about sending money to Ukraine? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of little intricacies that make up this whole bullshit. But at the same time, like I said, at minimum, he's here to shake things up. you know, so that it could be known. And there's a reason why they're always against him. They're trying to fucking lock him up. They're trying to do shit like that. Anybody that goes against their grain. And it could be both. You know, it's we're not only saying Democrats, there's also fucking like
both sides.
one eye McCain.
Yeah.
You know, he fucking, that's what they call the rhinos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're shitty on both sides. That's why it's like everybody wants to be like, oh, Republicans do that and Democrats do that. They're both fucking fucked up. Like they both do stupid shit, and they both have people that don't give a fuck about, you know, the American citizens.
Honest to
They
God.
worry about their own wealth.
That's why we say no one's coming to save you, because at some point when everybody's ready, we can take over this whole shit and fucking rebuild it again. Like fuck all these people.
Yeah. It's all on you, man. It's like Trump ain't coming over here to fucking save me or my family, especially if shit goes down. So that's all on me.
Roger that. That's why you gotta go out, keep doing hard shit, keep trying to forge your mindset, become greater, forge your body so you become hard to kill. Just become a motherfucker.
Yeah. Be someone's second decision, not their first decision to try and go after. It's like make them question whether they want to fight you or not, you know?
Make them question their existence.
Yeah.
Any words to take us out?
No.
Roger that. I think Pau's out of gas. So.
Or he got gas, so he want to finish it. All right, shit. That's BBC Chronicles number 2.
Yep, number 2.
Let us know, like we said at the beginning, questions, comments. We'll address it in BBC number 3.
Yeah, concerns.
You know,
Call us out. We'll answer that too.
yeah.
Tell us too. What try to direct the show too at times if you want us to talk about certain things. You know, we're not unloading other people's laundry. That's not what we're doing. But more about like issues that we could talk about to kind of bring light to the things that could make us greater and stimulate the brain.
BBC, we out.
Out.
Let's go.
Said they hit us in the morning way before the sunrise. Didn't give